All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you are new. Thank you guys so much for joining me today and for waiting patiently, as always, for the stream to start. And yeah, sorry I was running a little bit late today. My apologies there, but we're good to go now. And thank you for waiting patiently for the intro as well. So I hope everybody's doing well today. We have quite a few topics to go over and talk about today, or at least some. Certainly, I would say some some topics with some weight behind them. I mean, we're talking about how Sony is apparently in talks to acquire WB Games. We'll go over that. I don't know how trustworthy the source is, but WB Games seems to be doing a lot of like restructuring and trying to poise themselves for to become more appealing, in terms of acquisition and sale. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about Death Stranding 2. We have some news regarding that. We are just days away from Death Stranding 2 at this point. And we're also going to be talking about Marathon getting delayed indefinitely. And I'm sure we'll talk about some other things over the course of this stream as well. So, a Mordor game. I don't think we're going to get another Shadow of Mordor game, man. I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. MBG Sony has more live service akin to Tokon in production. Convaleria is a looter shooter they're publishing. So many of these live games are unknown because they're partners and not PlayStation Studios. Convaleria, I think I've seen that one. It looked pretty good. Yeah. Was there a Donkey Kong Direct? I didn't watch it. I didn't even know it was happening. I'll be honest. JMR, I did see the rumor, about the PlayStation 6 handheld. We're continuing to get more rumors regarding the handheld and even the PlayStation 6. And Isley or Esley, not exactly sure how you would say it. I think it's Isley, right? Thank you so much for becoming a channel member. I really appreciate that. Kicking off the what'll hopefully be some kind of member train today. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So it's Isley, okay. Got it right the first time. Yeah, thank you for that. I do appreciate the support. Boss is already here going crazy. Kojima-san made you. Well, let me add that to the goal here. Yeah, guys, so before we dive into any of these topics and talk about them, I want to ask you to please take a moment and hit that like button if you haven't already. Not only does it help the stream and push it out there in the algorithm, but it lets me know you're enjoying the streams. So hit that like button. We're already at 30. I think we could easily get to 50 likes. And if you want to help support the channel, the content, and the community directly, I am only able to do this because you guys make it possible. We're completely fan-funded. Consider becoming a channel member like Isley did here, or gifting memberships. We're going to strive for 25 members. We'll feed the beast. Consider dropping a super chat, direct donations. These are all ways in which you can help support the channel directly. So a big shout out and thank you to everybody who supports the channel. And yes, Gaming Survivor, I absolutely did see the Tokism art, and my God, it might be one of the most cursed things I've ever bore witness to. But lovely nonetheless, right? Lovely nonetheless. Thank you for that, Gaming Survivor. Yeah, we're going to talk about that, Lux. I have that up here. It's hard to say if WB is actually looking to sell or not. I mean, when it comes to acquisition rumors, we have to be very careful with them because we know that, these are high-level things that are going on, and even if the rumor's true, that could fall apart at any moment. You think it's a load of BS? I'm not so sure. I don't know that it's complete BS. I think that there's one main reason I think it's not total BS, and it's because Sony was trying really hard to get Paramount. And it seems clear that Sony wants to make some kind of major acquisition to help bolster their movie and TV segment, and also, I guess, to a degree, their, their game segment, right? And we have Dragomir Lustin. Dragomir, thank you so much, buddy. I'm terrible with names, in case you can't tell. I always feel hesitant. I'm always afraid of butchering somebody's name. But Dragomir, thank you so much for becoming a channel member, buddy. I really appreciate that support. That's actually 2 new members today. Well, it looks like you renewed your membership, actually. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll add that to the counter here. Good stuff, man. And yeah, we did a members only Days Gone remaster platinum. Like, it was 2.5 hours. It was a good time. You guys can go check that out. There's a members launch we did earlier in the month as well. You can go check that out. But yeah, we are hearing that Sony is apparently they're in talks to try to acquire WB Games. And oh, come on, boss. And what's weird about it is that even if they were to acquire them, apparently, like, if it's a deal that actually got locked in, it's something that wouldn't actually go through for like another 2 years or something, because WB is in the process of kind of splitting, I guess, from Discovery or whatever. Hold on. Come on, dude. You can't be doing this today, all right? I'm sorry. I don't even really mind Boss being up here. It's just he's shedding right now, and he gets so much cat hair everywhere, dude. Uh, I mean, I had to manhandle him. I had to. No, you guys don't have to worry. Today's stream is not going to go anywhere. Yesterday's stream, it's my fault. Yesterday's stream was problematic because I had 2 topics that I went in to talk about. One of the topics I didn't even talk about. The other ended up getting kind of confirmed as we were talking about the rumor. And then on top of that, other news came out regarding Marathon, and I just figured, you know what? It wasn't a toxic stream or anything. There wasn't anything like bad going on. but I don't know. Sometimes it's my fault for not being able to kind of wrangle things in and keep it organized enough. It really disturbs me sometimes. But yeah, you guys won't have to worry about that. I just have to do a better job at keeping things, like, because I get too distracted. Like, when there's news that comes out as I'm talking about a topic, it's like, okay, we're just going to move on to that now. And it's like, well, really, you should probably save that either for later or the next stream. So my apologies there. Thank you, Mr. B. I appreciate that, dude. Spence, you think Sony buying WB would be exciting? And we have Sean Mitchell with a super chat. Thank you for that, Sean. Yeah, it looks like a 20-pound super chat. He says, at the last Higgs boss battle, looks like I'm going to finish up Death Stranding just in time for a seamless transition into 2. I can't wait now, man. Playing it back, I'm interested to see how Neil and Cliff are relevant to each other. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Sean. Yeah, I was thinking about whether or not I wanted to replay Death Stranding leading up to the launch of 2, but I just decided against it. I got my fill of it back in 2019 when I played it. I got the platinum, and I don't know if you're going for the platinum or not, but okay, boss just doesn't listen, dude. Oh my god. But Sean, yeah, the final Higgs, I mean, Death Stranding gets crazy at the end. And it's one of these things where, like, I don't remember everything that happened. So even though I'm not going to replay the game, I did see that they put a story recap out there. I think it's like 6.5 minutes. I'm probably going to watch that very soon. And then try to brush up on anything else that I may have forgotten. Hold on. Boss. Last warning. I'm gonna have to escort you out of the room if you can't stop biting this stuff. Let's go. Let's go. You're being bad. You're being a bad boy. You can't do that. Look, you got hair everywhere. I'm sorry, Sean. It's boss, bro. He's interrupting your super chat. Hold on. But yeah, Sean. Sorry about that, man. Higgs, gun versus rope speech, man. Peak cinema. Yeah, well, I know a lot of people are in the process of replaying Death Stranding right now in preparation for 2. And I totally get it because I have a feeling that even when I go to watch this recap, I'm still going to struggle to, to feel like I'm fully understanding and remembering everything that occurred in Death Stranding 1. But I know things got crazy towards the end. And it's what I do distinctly remember when I completed Death Stranding 1 is that I was like, there was this moment where I was like, oh, it's not over, you know? But then again, it's a Kojima game, so I guess that's maybe an expected feeling. Not in a bad way, but just one of those things where it's like you were fairly certain, like, oh, okay, like that's it. And it's like, oh wait, no. And I'm curious, I'm curious how much of that is going to occur in this game as well. And yeah, you mentioned Cliff here. I will say, like, Kojima has said multiple times that Neil is essentially going to play the role of Cliff this time around. And if you, without spoiling anything, and this is something I do remember from the story of Death Stranding 1, you figure out a lot more about the character of Cliff, and you know, he plays a really vital role ultimately in the overarching story of Death Stranding. And so the fact that he's saying Neil is kind of going to play a similar role, really have to wonder, like how that's gonna work. Like like I guess I'm trying to say is there's clearly gonna be some kind of little surprise with Neil, and I'm curious to see what it's gonna be. JMR is saying what an unbelievable game Death Stranding is. It's a wild game, man. It is. It's not really anything out there quite like it. And so, Sean, thank you so much for the super chat, man. I'm glad you were able to finish this game right before getting into Death Stranding 2, because it probably would have been a little bit stressful, if not just a little bit annoying, if you were lagging behind, right? That's probably the best way to do it, too. Yeah, you'll have to let me know, Sean, when you do start playing Death Stranding 2, because I remember hearing some people saying that they wanted to replay Death Stranding 1 going into 2, but they were a little bit afraid that by the time, they finished 1, they were going to feel fatigued by it and like maybe want to take a break from it, not do more going into the sequel. You have to let me know if you experienced that at all or if it actually enhances the overall experience. I think he said he's going for the platinum. Yeah. The platinum is a pretty fun one. It can take some time though. I don't think you're going to be able to get the platinum before the sequel drops, though. That might not be doable. But you have to let me know nonetheless. Keep me up to date. Oh, guys, important announcement I have to make. And actually, it's good that I make it now. So I don't know how many of you right now are watching the stream on YouTube mobile. But even if you're not, you're going to want to keep this in mind. There is a new community section on the channel. So if you go to my channel, I mean, you're on the channel now, but I mean, if you kind of go to like the home tab of my channel at the top near the banner or where the subscribe button would be or whatever, it should say something along the lines of join the community or something like that. And basically, this is YouTube's version of Discord, like a really, really simple version of Discord. It's not like regular posts. Yeah, it's basically YouTube Temu Discord. That's a good way to describe it. It's very simplified, but basically you can be. I don't know if you have to ask to join the community. I don't think so. This is new to me too. I just got approved for this yesterday. It's not members only. It's for subscribers. If you don't see it yet, it might not be active for you. I think it just rolled out yesterday. Pause, dude. What are you doing, man? Come on. It just rolled out yesterday. So Gaming Survivor says click on the mobile app, click on MBG's channel, and then click visit community. Yeah, and so there you can post stuff. Obviously, it's going to be moderated, so be chill, you know. But yeah, some people have already joined. Some people are posting stuff already, and it's pretty cool. I don't know how it's going to play out. I don't know what to expect, but it's a new feature, and so it'll be a way for the community here to kind of continue the conversation uh, once the streams are done. Outside of the streams. So I'll be there frequently, guys. Listen, help me, okay? I'm looking for something to replace Twitter. This could be it. So I'll be there. I'll be seeing what you guys post. I'll be reading, probably replying in some cases. So go check it out. Just make a Discord channel. I'm definitely not going to now that this is built in. Now, I can't stand Discord, dude. And I am nervous about this new feature, but it's baked into YouTube. So I'm like, okay, I'll see where it goes. It could be good. It could be good. But yeah, wanted to make sure to let you guys know about that. Let's dive into the conversation around Sony potentially acquiring WB Games. Oh my God. Sorry. I apologize, man. It's that time of the year. All my cats are shedding, and geez, it's just bad. So we have a report here coming from WCCF Tech. It says earlier this month, Warner Bros. Discovery announced that it would split itself into two entities by mid-2026. The first one, WBD Global Networks, will remain focused on the company's traditional cable programming with sports, news, and entertainment. The second entity, WBD Streaming and Studios, will spin off with HBO, the TV series and movie production, as well as the gaming division of Warner Bros. Discovery. Many analysts have identified the possible motive behind the split in a potential sale of the latter, which is the more successful side of the company. Now, just a few days after the announcement, the Wrestling Scoop website SE Scoops reckons that Sony is already considering purchasing WBD Streaming and Studios. Needless to say, this would make perfect sense for Sony from a strategic standpoint. It would considerably bolster its movie, TV series, and gaming production and give it access to some of the biggest intellectual properties in entertainment, such as the DC Universe, Harry Potter, and Game of Thrones. Now, it's all a bit premature at this stage since the split would have to happen first. As such, even if an acquisition deal is eventually reached, it may not be announced until 2027. Regarding the legitimacy of the source, SE Scoops has a long track record when it comes to wrestling leaks, but it's still worth taking the rumor with a big grain of salt. Moving to analyze the gaming side, we know that Warner Bros. Discovery has suffered heavy losses in that division. Despite the massive success of Hogwarts Legacy, several other games failed, such as Kill the Justice League, Gotham Knights, and Multiverses. Moreover, the historic studio Monolith was recently shut down, and its original Wonder Woman game was canceled. It says just yesterday we learned of a restructuring within Warner Brothers Games around its four key IPs: Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, DC, and Mortal Kombat. It's hard to say whether Sony's acquisition would improve this division's situation in any meaningful way. Gamers probably shouldn't be too concerned about those games becoming PlayStation exclusives, though. They're simply too big to make exclusive, which I don't know if I agree with that fully, but yeah, so we have to be very careful about the source. A lot of people are questioning the source. I don't know if this source is good or not. Apparently, they covering like wrestling leaks or something. So I'm not sure why they like. I'm not sure why they would be talking about this. If I don't know if maybe it has something to do with wrestling ultimately, because we're talking about TV and sports and whatnot. I don't know, but apparently, according to this one source, this is something that's going on behind the scenes. And so let's not focus too much on the validity of it because, as you know, when it comes to acquisitions, they can fall through at any moment. This could be actually going on right now, but it might not happen. The last thing that we heard when it comes to Sony acquisitions is that Sony was trying to get Paramount and they were willing to pay a ridiculous amount of money to get Paramount, but for whatever reason, it just didn't go through. But the main reason Sony wanted Paramount was to, again, bolster its movies and TV division and music as well, potentially. And so when you look at WB, you could see how Sony could benefit from this. It's not just about gaming. If anything, gaming would come second. It would be like secondary with an acquisition like this. Um, they bid 26 billion for Paramount, but it didn't go through because they had massive debt. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there there were certain concerns about Sony acquiring Paramount. And so if they are trying to acquire WB, there's concerns here as well. You always have to question if a big company is trying to sell, why is that? What kind of trouble are they in? I mean, when it comes to the gaming side, we know the trouble that WB has been in, right? When it comes to even the movie side with like the DC, cinematic universe, I mean, we've seen the struggles there, man. And they're rebooting that with Superman, and we don't know if that's going to happen. Well, we do know that we do know that that Superman movie is happening. It's coming out next month. But what I mean to say is we don't know if that's going to be the thing that really kicks off the DC extended universe or whatever. You know, they're making a big bet with the Superman project and James Gunn. And when it comes to the gaming side, you know, we saw what happened with multiverses, with Kill the Justice League. We saw what happened to Rocksteady. We saw how Monolith was just shut down and that Wonder Woman game was canceled. And so, I don't think Sony acquiring these WB studios would be that exciting just because, well, if we look at the studios themselves, we have Avalanche Software, probably the most valuable studio. Well, no, I can say for sure, Avalanche Software is the most valuable studio that WB Games owns right now, and they're working on a Hogwarts Legacy sequel. Hogwarts Legacy was an unbelievable hit. It outsold Call of Duty in 2023. So, that's a studio that Sony would pick up, and, would Hogwarts Legacy 2 be a PlayStation console exclusive? I don't know. I'm going to say if it wasn't developed to be a console exclusive from the onset, probably not, but that would be a massive game, single player game that Sony would likely benefit from. But that's, Avalanche Software and Hogwarts Legacy, you put that aside, I'm not so sure how it's looking. Because then we have NetherRealm. Now, I think Sony could benefit from NetherRealm in a pretty substantial way because, I mean, Sony is clearly trying to get heavily involved in esports. They bought Evo. They just announced a major partnership with what's the Arc System Works? I think that's the name of the studio on Marvel Tokon. And so, I mean, bringing in NetherRealm with Mortal Kombat and potentially Injustice, I mean, I could see why Sony would see that as a major benefit to what they're trying to do here. I mean, Sony just announced a fight stick, right? So I would say Avalanche Software, NetherRealm, these would be two great studios for Sony to pick up and would certainly bolster PlayStation studios. But then we move on to Rocksteady. And Rocksteady, I mean, it's unfortunate that this is the reality for Rocksteady, but Rocksteady is now a big question mark, right? We know that they're one of the most successful, they were one of the most successful studios with what they did with the Batman Arkham trilogy, but they lost their way. The founders of the studio left. They suffered massive layoffs. Kill the Justice League was a mega flop. And the studio seems, as of right now, like a shell of their former self. But what's interesting about Rocksteady is we do know that they are now working on a single-player Batman game. I don't know how many people know this or not, or miss this, but they are working on a single-player Batman game. It's in early development. It's probably going to be a PlayStation 6 game. We don't know if it's like a remake. We don't know if it's a soft reboot, but we do know it is a Batman game. They're going back to what worked for them, and you can't blame them because it's like, what else are you supposed to do? Is WB selling the IP or just the studios? From the sounds of it, if this acquisition is a real thing and it does happen, it sounds like Sony would get the entirety of it. Of course, like, things can be negotiated, but based off of what we're hearing with this singular rumor, it sounds like it's going to be the entirety of WB, like IP and everything, so that it would like all, Sony would absorb all of that. But yeah, I mean, Rocksteady, they're working on a Batman game. I mean, I'll be honest, if Rocksteady could make a really good single player Batman game like people want them to, that could be a big get for Sony, no doubt about that. Would they make that exclusive? I don't know, but that would be a big get for them. Then you have TT Games. They work on the Lego titles. Now, TT Games is 4 different studios because they're always working on Lego titles. So that would be an interesting thing for Sony to have. I think Sony would love to have that, actually, the more I think about it, because what did Sony try to do with Horizon? They tried to make a Horizon Lego game. Sony has a renewed interest in trying to appeal to a younger audience, a broader audience. And I mean, dude, if they could get the studios that are working on the Lego games, well, there you go. You could very clearly see why Sony would love to have something like that. But then below that, we have WB Games Montreal. They did Gotham Knights. Before that, they did Batman Arkham Origins. So it's hard to say what that studio would work on. And then they have WB Games Boston, which I think still works on Lord of the Rings Online. But apparently, somebody says here, Lord of the Rings Online has not been owned or developed by WB since 2016. They were palmed off to Daybreak Games, who themselves were sold off by Sony to EG7. This person says, trust me, I've been playing Lord of the Rings Online since 2007. So, that's just a rundown of the gaming side of things and how this would potentially impact PlayStation if they were to have, go through with an acquisition like this. Dark Horse, a member for 11 months, says MBG would be cool. However, how acquisitions work, it's not just Sony. There will be other bidders, and no, they are splitting the corp into 4 pieces. And yeah, it does. You're right, Dark Horse. There certainly would be other bidders, right? Like Microsoft could get in on this. Anybody could get in on this. Really, it does seem like all the analysts are saying that this move to kind of split up WB and Discovery, it is in a bid to sell, to become much more appealing for, I don't say a fire sale, I don't think it's like that, but just an overall, some kind of major acquisition of some kind. And, I guess what I'm trying to say is I could see Sony wanting to fight for this, because the more I think about it, I think this would benefit Sony. I mean, the problem is, I don't think WB is, like, if you look at the properties they have, I think they're good, solid properties. I mean, they have the entirety of the DC universe, right? Like, they have things like Mortal Kombat and Harry Potter and all these beloved IPs, Game of Thrones. I just think that the management of these IPs and WB just doesn't know exactly what to do with them. I mean, Hogwarts Legacy is by far and away the best thing they've done in the gaming sector, like, ever, right? But at the same time, WB was chasing the same thing that Sony was earlier on, where they're like, yeah, Rocksteady, we want you to make a live service game. And it's like, what are you talking about? Why would you want them to make a live service game? That's the opposite of what they should be doing. And they spent like 10 years doing it, and it was just a complete disaster. We have Prince G with the $2 super chat saying, I need a Batman Beyond game like yesterday, MB Gooner. I mean, some of the rumors were claiming that that is the Batman game that Rocksteady is now working on, a Batman Beyond title. Obviously, it's too early to know for sure, but that would be a big one. That would be a big one. I think people would be hyped for that. And it's stuff like that. Like, to me, that's a big winner right there, man. Like, making a AAA Batman game, it's not that we haven't gotten them before. That is what Rocksteady's known for, but it's been a long time. It's been a long time. I think it's been more than enough time. I think a game like that, as long as it's made just as well as the previous games, I think it would be mega successful. I really do. And oh my God, bro, what? What?
Holy shit.
Silent Spartan coming in out of literally nowhere, dropping in like Batman, bro. I feel like the goons in the warehouse dropping 50 membership gifts out of literally nowhere, bro. Nowhere. Silent Spartan's like Batman today. Holy shit, indeed, bro. Thank you so much. I was not expecting that. Definitely not expecting that. Well, there we go. Unknown, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry you're still not getting a gift. We'll see. It's still going. It's still going. But there we go, man. Silent Spartan just dropped 50 membership gifts. He just crushed the goal. He hit 2 goals, bro. Love to see it. Love to see it. Wow. Well, boss, get over here, man.
Boss, do you read me? It's time to feed the beast.
Yo. Okay. All right, Leia, you go first then. Leia practically doing a combat role. That's crazy, though, dude. Thank you so much, once again, Silent Spartan, for dropping 50 membership gifts. Massive, massive support for the community, for the channel. I said it at the beginning of the stream. I say it at the end of every stream, and I'll continue to say it as long as it's true. I can only do this because you guys make it possible, and it's support like that that makes it possible. So thank you so much, man. Really means a lot. Here we go, Leia. Just hang tight, boss. All right, let Leia go first. Well, there we go. Let me update the member goal. And and I also had a $2 super chat from Ray. He says, MBG, they would also get the Nemesis system. Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that. Damn. That would be really cool. And I could actually see how many of Sony studios could potentially benefit from something like the Nemesis system and maybe make alterations to it. Oh, that would be sick, dude. I completely forgot about that. Now, it is unfortunate because Monolith was shut down. So the talent that, made that system and the talent that made the Lord of the Rings games, the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, they're gone, which is extremely unfortunate. I still can't believe that happened. But yeah, the patent, I think, is owned still by WB. That would be really interesting to see what a Sony studio could do and with what property, what they could do with the Nemesis system. Maybe you could see somebody like Insomniac using that, Okay, let me update this really quick. And Ray, thank you for the super chat, buddy. And we'll do we could do reps, I guess. I mean, hell, if we hit 75 members today, I'll definitely do some reps at the end of the stream. F Warner Bros for that. Yeah, I really think that they messed up shuttering Monolith. I mean, I understand that Wonder Woman maybe wasn't coming together very well, but at the same time, I just can't help but feel like that studio had so much talent, and there was surely something more they could have done, Exclusive mechanics. Oh man. And we have Moonshot with a direct donation. I'm sorry to keep you waiting, buddy. Just got a little bit caught up here. He says, after the latest Sony business meeting and Sony firmly committed to more live service, people should finally realize it wasn't on Jim Ryan. It's Sony. That's an interesting statement, Moonshot. And, it's one that I have to agree with. I think no matter what, there is some level of blame. Oh, hold on. There is some level of blame that has to go to Jim Ryan. And I think where that blame starts is it was up to Jim Ryan how that live service strategy was going to be executed. But I think that's where it ends. But I think it did have a profound impact on the PS5 generation. I have tried telling people that Shuhei Yoshida revealed very recently, Yeah. He revealed in an interview that the it, he didn't say it was a mandate. He didn't use that word, but he said that from it came from Kenichiro Yoshida. Shuhei Yoshida revealed that the then CEO of Sony, Kenichiro Yoshida, was studying up on the gaming side, and he basically, came to the conclusion that we should probably be doing live service games. And to be fair, Kenichiro Yoshida was not wrong. No business executive is wrong for seeing the success of live service games and then basically coming to the conclusion that we need to do that too. It's just that there's so many factors missing in that thought process where it's like, well, do you understand how difficult that actually is? Do you understand the amount of luck? And yes, luck that is involved with having a mega successful live service. The stars have to align. And I think Jim Ryan knew that. So Jim Ryan was given a bunch of money to, keep making your single player games, but we're going to give you like triple the amount of money we normally would so you can reinvest it in the live service games. And I think Jim Ryan understood that it's not easy to break into the live service sector. So that's why he came up with the shotgun approach, which I think was ultimately a mistake and something that did hurt Sony. But at the same time, there is logic behind it, right? If you understand that a game like Fortnite if you understand just how incredibly rare that is, and then you also factor in that there are all of these other live service games that have already carved out their own path and their own success, doing something like a shotgun approach does make sense on paper. But when it comes to the execution, it's, the unfortunate reality is that Sony simply didn't have what it takes, or at least up till this point. Now, they did get lucky, though. Helldivers is what got them that success that they were looking for now. We don't know if it's going to be long-term success. We don't know if Helldivers is going to be as successful. We don't know if Helldivers 2 is going to be a black hole game at the end of the day, but it found Sony success. But everything else that they've touched in live service has been kind of cursed. Like we saw what happened with Concord. We're seeing what's happening with Marathon, which we're going to talk about that in a little while. And we look at the other studios that they have, and they have like a Horizon Online game. They have LFG Studio. They have Dark Outlaw. They have Fair Games. And it's like, we don't truly know what's going to happen with these titles, right? We don't actually know, but I don't know that anybody is looking at anything that Sony has lined up in live service and assuming that it's going to be a mega hit. But, I think it's just tough because a lot of PlayStation players don't want Sony to do live service games. They don't want them. Yeah, and that's true too, Josh. Yeah, that's further proof. LFG was a spinoff of a Bungie studio, and Sony made them a PlayStation studio. That was done after Jim left, like well after Jim left. So this, you can almost maybe assume that Sony did anticipate a possible high level of failure. Marvel Tokon, yeah, I think that will be successful. That seems like that has the chance to be their biggest game, live service wise, which is very interesting, man. Like, I mean, what I'm seeing with Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, that looks like the stars might be aligning. And that's going to be big for Sony. If it pans out the way it's looking like it might, that's going to be big. But Sony's not going to be okay with just one or two. They're going to keep going. And like I was saying, there are PlayStation players who do not want Sony to make live service games at all. And I understand why. It's because Sony's expertise has been and still remains, in single player. And we saw how there were studios that were mismanaged, like Naughty Dog, getting into live service, and it just wasn't working out. And we saw studios get shut down. And we know, looking back at this generation, that we could have had even more single player games. You factor in all these things, it's completely understandable why so many PlayStation players are like, man, Sony, please walk away from live service. But I think people, specifically those PlayStation fans I'm talking about, would do well to try to understand and maybe accept, because it's just the way it's going to be, that live service is not a trend. This is something that I continually talk about, but it's because there are so many people that still believe for some reason that live service is a trend. It is not a trend. It's here to stay. It is the most relevant aspect of gaming. Period. I'm not saying that's what I want or that I like that. I'm just here to say that that is a fact. It is the most relevant aspect of the gaming industry. And a company like Sony, for as big as they are and as big of a footprint they have in the games industry, they cannot ignore that. It would be was it if Sony were to willingly ignore and forego live service, they would be basically telling shareholders, we don't really care about future growth in this space. That's how serious and how important live service games are in the industry. And they could do that, but it wouldn't, from a business perspective, make any sense. If somebody said, listen, if Hiroki Totoki said we're not doing live service anymore, he would immediately get fired or replaced. Where it's like, dude, we didn't elect you as the CEO so that way you could walk away from live service, the most lucrative aspect of the video game market. And I understand that people want to blame Jim Ryan, like it's square on his shoulders alone. It's not that simple. At the end of the day, is he probably is he the scapegoat? Yeah, probably. But it's just one of these things where Sony is not going to stop until they achieve what they need to achieve. And what they need to achieve is, yes, they need to have a handful of Sony published and Sony developed live service games that are some of the most dominant games or just some of the most played games in the industry. Microsoft has that right now. Nintendo will get there eventually as well. That's something Nintendo's going to have to get on board with eventually too. And every publisher, whether they like it or not, is going to need this. Listen, guys, when you see Remedy Entertainment, coming out with a 3v3 PvP, kind of silly game that's meant to appeal to a whole new audience, that is essentially their small but, very obvious push into trying to make some kind of multiplayer live service game. When you see Remedy doing that as an independent studio, this is just how it is, man. And so it doesn't have to be bad. I just think that Sony needs to be mindful and careful. And I do think that the shotgun approach is over now. I think that they tried the shotgun approach. I think it blew up in their face. I think that there were a lot of casualties, unfortunately. But I think they understand now that they have to be more meticulous. And I think this is why, not that I'm trying to shift topics too quickly here, but it kind of, segues into it. I think this is why Sony is okay with Bungie delaying Marathon indefinitely. That's important to understand. They did not give a new date. And they're talking about, I don't want to say doing a soft reboot, but completely overhauling it. And if you think about it, that's the opposite approach of what Sony did with Concord. And so they are learning. Will it work out for them? Will it save Marathon? I don't know. But all I do know is that when Sony got the same level of pushback for Concord, they said, we're ignoring that and we're just pushing through and we're going ahead. And we saw the result. Now they see that again and they're like, you know what though? Back to the drawing board. We're gonna overhaul this. Again, don't know if it's gonna save it, but it goes to show that Sony is learning. They're listening and they're learning. There's still some people saying that Marathon should be canceled. I get it. You know, there are people saying that Bungie needs to make a single player game, and that would be interesting. That would be very interesting. And I think there is an argument to be made that maybe that is what they should do. But we're going to find out. We have Dark Horse with a $5 super chat, and he says, hot take, Microsoft is going to force Sony into full multi-platform with their new approach of everything is an Xbox because they miss out on MAUs. I think Sony is kind of against the clock a little bit. Like, I get where you're coming from, Dark Horse, and I can kind of see maybe how there's a strategy. Like, that's almost like a passive competitive thing, right? Like, Microsoft is being passively competitive towards Sony. Oh, right. It's not a race. It's a marathon, Shems. It's a marathon. I mean, it kind of is. This is Dark Horse. I think what I'm saying about Sony's need to have successful live service games highlights, maybe underpins in a way, like what you're saying here, where what could Sony do to mitigate any pressure from the MAU sector? And like, if Microsoft rolls out their new console and it's like a hybrid and it's PC and it's all about like, you know, different storefronts, play where you want, everything's an Xbox. If they were to do that and suddenly it's like working and it's catching on and everybody likes it and it's now the new expectation in the industry, but it hurts Sony and maybe hurts Nintendo as well, but in this case we'll just stick with Sony. What could Sony do to push back against that, to mitigate that, have successful live service games? One thing Jim Ryan did say that he was absolutely correct about, and it means everything in this conversation, is he said that a successful live service game is basically just like a subscription service. And he's not wrong. And so this is why, like, if Game Pass fails for Microsoft, it's okay. They have Call of Duty. And they have Minecraft. And they have Elder Scrolls Online. And they have all these other live service games. For Sony, they need something that, like, for example, if console sales fail, because that's, if you think about it, this is what Microsoft is betting against, right? This new multi-platform approach for Microsoft is they're betting against their own storefront because they're betting against exclusivity, because they're betting against, you know, the prospect of future growth in the hardware space or in the console space. And that's because they're betting on future growth being in the MAU space and just kind of getting everywhere, being everywhere, trying to just go into as many places as possible. You think that's not the bet, Dark Horse? You don't think so? I mean, that's my read on it. It could, you know, I could be wrong, but I just feel like it's the opposite of what Sony's betting on. Sony's betting on being able to maintain this kind of mostly closed ecosystem and mostly closed storefront to their benefit, while picking and choosing where they want to expand. They want to be the one-stop shop. I don't know about that one, Dark Horse. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I think, like, if they could achieve that, they would. Like, as an end goal, I see it. But as like a realistically tangible goal that they're earnestly fighting for, I'm not sure. I mean, here's how I view it, Dark Horse. And New Soul, I'm going to read your super chat in just a moment. Dark Horse, I think all we need to do to understand what Microsoft's strategy is and their end goal, like what is the end game with Microsoft and Xbox and in the gaming sector, is just look at Windows. There is a reason why in that video that Microsoft released yesterday announcing their partnership with AMD, Sarah Bond said it herself. Like, they want to make Windows the best place for gaming. This is all about Windows, because Windows is what made Microsoft what they are today. Everything comes back to Windows, and I think that that's all we're witnessing is Microsoft transforming the Xbox brand, not transforming, but they are allowing Windows to absorb the Xbox brand. And I think this is a bigger play for Microsoft as a whole corporation of like, we kind of used to let you guys do your own thing and be separate. If you're going to be part of it now, that means you're going to have to be part of Windows. And Windows is going to have to be at the heart of it. And I think at the end of the day, well, if we're trying to understand like Sony's strategy versus Microsoft's, what makes Windows work for Microsoft? What makes it work for Microsoft? I'm seriously asking because sometimes I'm not even sure. Like how does Windows work for Microsoft so well? Like how has it gotten them to this point? LinkedIn? LinkedIn, anybody? You think because it's all about the enterprise, maybe? Data harvesting? Oh, that's an interesting one. See, I didn't think of that. Schools and business. Yeah, I'm thinking it might be more of an enterprise thing. The world runs on PCs. I mean, that's the thing, man. I think that Microsoft wants to be the underbelly of it all, you know? I think Microsoft's plan is to like I'm trying to think of an appropriate like analogy here, but it's failing me. I think Microsoft, they just want to be at the bottom of it, but take up the most land, if that makes sense. Like they just they want to. I mean, yeah, they want to be the bedrock. That would be a good way to describe it. They want to be the bedrock. They want to be the foundation in the sense that like we're not worried about getting to the top because we're not even trying to climb vertically anymore. We're just worried about being everywhere at all, literally everywhere at all times. And the question is like, because Microsoft can achieve that. If any company can achieve that, it's Microsoft. And that's what other companies are trying to achieve too. But Sony and Nintendo, it's not that they don't want that. It's just that Microsoft is willing to give something major up to do it. And what they're willing to give up is control in a sense, where it's like, yeah, we don't need to have the most successful storefront. That's okay. We don't need to have exclusives. That's okay too. And Steven Leon, bro. Steven Leon coming in with a $100 super chat. Massive support on today's stream, guys. Steven, I'm going to read your super chat in just a moment. I've been leaving New Soul 9 hanging here, which I feel bad about. I'm sorry, New Soul 9. I've been keeping you waiting. And Steven Leon comes in and drops 20 more membership gifts on you guys. Steven's going crazy today, bro. He's going crazy today with the support. You guys are going ballistic with the membership gifts. Wow. Steven, thank you so much, man.
Simply put, it's the most powerful console we've ever built.
I never get tired of hearing that music playing in the background when Mark Cerny says that. New Soul 9, you're saying here with a super chat as well as a member milestone chat. MBG, to put it in this perspective, live service is an evolution of basic multiplayer. This was inevitable. It's just none of us knew what was going to be the evolution of multiplayer. And you say anyone had chili cheese hot dog with bacon. Can't say I've actually had that before, but sounds pretty good. New Soul 9. I think that's a good way of looking at it, New Soul 9. Yeah, I mean, I know people hate live service, and I don't think it's because they hate multiplayer. I just think they hate live service because live service, the evolution of what multiplayer is like multiplayer is something you want to keep coming back to, right? That's the whole idea. Is like multiplayer aspects of games were created so you can keep returning to them and keep playing and keep engaging. It was live service just represents the monetization of that. So ultimately, I think what you're trying to say here, New Soul 9, is that the evolution of basic multiplayer is how do we monetize this? And I think that we've seen bad attempts. If you guys remember, you remember the online passes, where it's like, oh, you want to play the multiplayer of this game? You need an online pass, something like that. If not, which was ridiculous. Like, that was horrible. We've seen like map packs, right? That's monetization. Then we started to see skins. You guys remember how in Call of Duty Black Ops 2 in 2012, they were like one of the first ones were like, we're going to introduce $2 weapon skins. And everybody was kind of looking around like, well, this is different. Is this good? Is this bad? And everyone's like, it's $2. Who cares? And you see what it's evolved into today. But yeah, then you got the loot box scenario. And yeah, I think it's just all a matter of like the ultimate evolution, although some people see it as a step back because of the greed aspect of it, monetization. And when you look at basically the day that a business executive woke up, went to work, and realized, wait a second, is this multiplayer component that was built here, is this just a storefront? Is this just a platform? The moment they had that realization, that's when we converted to live service. And again, it's not bad. Like, a lot of people there's a reason why people play it. I know that people complain like, oh my God, paying $20 for Fortnite skins and whatnot. And it's like, I mean, I get it. Some of it is pretty bad and egregious, but the reality is the people have spoken. The market speaks, and the market says, we want live service. If you don't believe us, look at how much we're playing live service. And I have to admit, I'm not against live service. I think it's all a matter of how it's handled. But I think, some people fear that live service comes at the expense of single player. Not necessarily. It's getting tougher out here, but single player will live on, always. People will always want single player games. So there's going to be a market for it all. I just think that right now, the most lucrative market, by far and away, is the live service market. And Stephen Leon, again, thank you so much, buddy, for the $100 super chat and the 20 member gifts, which I have to update the member goal. We're actually at 72. So thank you for that, buddy. And you're saying here, okay, here's my once a month dono. Use this for your new mic or for spa day for Mrs. MBG. Have a great day. Well, again, thank you so much, Stephen. Maybe this one will go towards the wife because, it's been a stressful first half of the year for her as well as me. So thank you once again, man. I appreciate it. The family appreciates it, bro. You're a good guy, Steven. And I have another direct donation from Laman. And he says, Sony could revive the DC gaming universe by having multiple studios making Wonder Woman / Green Lantern or Superman or Batman games and then a Justice League game. Oof. I mean, dude, it sounds tantalizing when you put it that way. I got to be honest. Sony, the idea of Sony locking in Marvel games and DC, I'll be honest, I've always liked DC. I don't know if I like DC more than Marvel. I think ultimately I like DC more than Marvel. There are some Marvel characters that are like, I love though, like Wolverine and Punisher, but like, I've always gravitated more towards DC. And so I have to admit, like, this would be an interesting thing to see done. Like, and maybe that Rocksteady could be that studio. I mean, I don't know what Rocksteady was thinking or what WB was thinking, where it's like, we got to make a Suicide Squad game. Like, the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? Make a Superman game, bro. Make a freaking Green Lantern game. Or make a one, and maybe this is, make a Justice League game. Maybe they could do something where it's like start with a Batman game, then do a Superman game, and then maybe do a Justice League game and then start doing more standalone games. I mean, it's easier said than done. Obviously, this is like just thinking about it. It sounds good on paper, but yeah, maybe, and who knows, maybe Insomniac could help. I don't know if people would want to see Insomniac be the Marvel and DC studio, but I will say, man, like the idea of like the DC properties being in the hands of Sony, it's not about exclusivity per se. It's just about like, yeah, man, there are absolutely like DC developed games, like the prospect of certain DC developed games with certain characters that would be super exciting. And I would be interested in seeing that, but I don't know. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. Again, like even if this acquisition were to go through, well, we don't even know if it's a real thing that's happening behind the scenes. Assuming it is, assuming they're negotiating, even if we found out that's like, oh yeah, they're doing this, it would be like multiple years before they even lock it in. But it would be big. I mean, I got to be honest with you. When we talk about acquisitions, I am nervous. Like I am nervous for Sony, where it's like, Sony, please be careful, because like I saw how confident you were in Bungie, and that was such a bad acquisition. But I have to admit, like what WB Games has with their properties and even the studios, that stacked up against Bungie, it's a night and day difference. I think the reality with looking at WB Games potentially being a part of Sony is we see like, oh, more single player games. That's likely what that will mean. And the reason I say that is because WB tried to do live service games with those studios, and it just didn't work. It didn't work. So Sony would have to be like next level dumb to acquire those same studios and then say, well, why don't we try live service with them? No, what they would probably do is say, this can just bolster our single player portfolio, which what does your fan base want? Single player games. Now, maybe it's a little bit different with a studio like NetherRealm, because they support, Injustice or Mortal Kombat. But I'll just put it to you this way. I trust Sony more with those studios and WB Games than I do WB. Like at WB, I feel like they kind of don't really know what they're doing. And New Soul 9 coming in with a $50. Guys, thank you so much for the incredible support today with super chats and member gifts. Awesome community we have here. Really appreciate it. New Soul 9 says, MBG, also to comment on the whole Xbox letting go of control of their storefront, I believe they have no issue with it if they realize they can exchange it with another form of control. I'll let you guess what the other form of control is. I mean, from an overhead view, the first thing that I can think of, you can have the more lucrative store. You can have our games. Our hardware doesn't need to sell well. So what does Microsoft get? I think Microsoft just gets a piece of every single pie, which inherently means they have some level of control over everything. I mean, maybe I'm seeing that differently than you, New Soul 9. Maybe you're thinking of something else, but I kind of view it as like it's in the same way where it's like I don't know that Microsoft would be able to convert gaming, like Xbox I don't think can match Windows, because Windows was able to be converted for like, we can make this work on an enterprise level. We can work with schools. I feel like, yeah, that, and we can offer these software packages that are for productivity and stuff like that. I don't know what that looks like in the form of gaming. Like, I don't know if they'll be able to achieve that. But when I look at, for example, what they did with Forza Horizon 5 or, well, we'll just stick with Forza, right? This was a game that was supposed to never come to PlayStation. It did release on PlayStation, and it sold, I think, close to like 2 million copies at full price. I think it did go on sale not that long ago, but you get the idea. And I think for Microsoft, it's like, we're not getting 100% of that, and 30% of that is going into our competitor's pocket, but we're still getting the lion's share. And that's like more, I would say that's more than we would have gotten on our own storefront, but it's like, what does that mean for Forza Horizon 6? Like, would it be bad for us if we release Forza Horizon 6 on PS5 day one and on our Xbox store day one, on the PlayStation store and the Xbox store, but it sells more, like way more on the PlayStation store? Like, is that truly bad for us? And it's like, well, considering you're getting 70% of that cut, I don't think it is. And New Soul with a $5 chat says, because you best believe MBG is a $3 trillion company. They want control. You'd be foolish to believe otherwise. Well, I agree with that. Yeah. And I guess it comes down to, I guess, what our definition, I guess what I really am trying to say here, New Soul 9, is I think Microsoft's definition of control is different than what maybe we see it as. I think Microsoft's definition of control is just having influence. I think that might be what it boils down to, where it's like, if we can begin to influence these other areas inside of a market, that otherwise, if we wanted to have the more traditional version of control, like, for example, Sony and Nintendo, they have that more traditional type of control where they want to be, they want to have their own hardware, their own storefront, their own closed ecosystem, and anytime they try to expand outward, they're doing so on their terms, where it's like, you're either with it or you're not, our way or the highway. That's traditional, right? That's the way it's always been. I think Microsoft, their whole idea of control, and the reason why I say it's influence is because it's like, okay, well, we just want to be a part of everything that's going on. We don't want to impose our stuff, anything we're doing, onto anybody. And it's like, well, see, I see what you're doing there, because you won't need to impose it because you're just going to be in the background. It's almost like Microsoft is saying, like, we don't want to show up to your house uninvited, but they're there anyway. It's like, well, okay, good. I didn't want you here anyway. It's like, too bad we're already there. Do you get what I'm saying? It's that level of like, but they'll never say they're there. They're just in the background, bro. they're like the wallpaper in your home. I don't know. It's maybe a better maybe an even better analogy is just, no, not like a squatter. That's why maybe that's a bad analogy. Like, Microsoft's breaking into your house, bro. I guess a better analogy would be like, yeah, I want to buy this house, but I want to make sure that not a single part of this home was built using any materials from this company. And it's like, that's not possible. Like, what do you mean that's not possible? It's just not possible. Like, at least one aspect of your home is going to be built using materials from that specific company. You just can't avoid it. And what that ultimately means is that every single home that's built, that company has a say in, has a hand in, and I think that that's just basic. I don't know if that's a good analogy or not. I'm struggling. My analogy game is off today. My metaphor game. I don't know. But that's essentially what Microsoft's trying to do, where it's like, think of it this way. Even if Sony said, Microsoft, we reject you. We're not letting you put your games on our platform. We want you to die. We want you out of gaming. Like, if Sony was just being totally crazy about it, Microsoft would still find their way on the PlayStation. through middleware. I think they own the Havoc engine. The Havoc engine, if somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but the Havoc engine is a middleware that so many developers use. And it's all over. It's all over PlayStation. And it's like, yeah, that's money going into Microsoft's pocket. Microsoft is still there. Like that to me is just, that's the way Microsoft operates. It's a physics engine. Thank you. That's the Microsoft that I know, right? That's Satya Nadella's Microsoft, where it's like, bro, we don't want you to even know we're here siphoning money. We don't even want you to know. Now, granted, I think the reason why Microsoft is being so, they're puffing their chest out these days, because they don't usually do that with the Xbox side. Like, look at how well we're selling on PlayStation. I think that's more for shareholders. That's not usually how Microsoft operates. Microsoft wants to be in the shadows. They want to kind of just do their thing in the background and not even make people aware that they're there taking their money. But I think they have to be a little bit more assertive that way, and a little bit more boisterous. Is that the word? They have to just let their shareholders know, like, hey, what we're doing is working. Just so you know. Don't panic. It's working. And we have Nick here with a $20 super chat. Thank you for that, Nick. He says, what control in this sphere? Their hardware is dying. They have to go third party so Microsoft doesn't pull the plug. They banked everything on a subservice that has plateaued. They have zero control in this space. Well, it's because what Microsoft is trying to do, I mean, I think there's an argument to be made there, Nick. Like, what level of control does Microsoft have? They do not have as much control as Sony or Nintendo. And this is a reality that some, when we see people discussing these different corporations and gaming companies on the internet, and there's discourse, this is something that that a lot of people are in disagreement with. A lot of people are in disagreement with, because the reality is Sony and Nintendo, they have the most control in this space. Although, hold on though, you could make an argument that Tencent actually might have the most in the background. But Microsoft is, trying to think of the best way to explain this, Nick. It's kind of like, I know people are not going to like the way I word this. I think some Xbox players might get like offended or whatever, but Microsoft is looking to ride the coattails. And they're going to be scooping up buckets of money by riding the coattails. And so I guess maybe if we get away from the word control and we focus on just the bottom line, and the bottom line is money, Microsoft said, yeah, we're going to buy Activision. We had nothing to do with Activision. We have no hand in the success of Call of Duty or the success of anything of that company, but we're going to buy them, and all their buckets of money become our buckets of money. And that's where, like, when we have this conversation of like, well, are you allowed to do that? And it's like, yes, it's business. They are allowed to do that. It's like, oh, well, okay. And yeah, I mean, it almost gets philosophical, Nick. Corey, what's up, man? It almost gets philosophical, right? Where it's like, is that really control? And it's like, well, yeah, Microsoft just paid to have control. But the question is, are you like, what are you going to do now that you have control? Because you got to make sure, like, don't mess it up, because now it falls on you. And Sony did the same thing with Bungie, right? Like, Sony had nothing to do with Bungie at all. And they're just like, we're going to buy you now. And now we just paid for control of it. And it's like, yeah, look at what you just paid for control of. A developer that is spiraling out of control. And you can't even reel it in. So it's like, Nick, it's tough, man, because the optics, like the optical view that you have right now, where you're saying like Microsoft doesn't have any control, they're forced to go third party, um, their you know their service plateaued, their hardware's dying. The best way I could try to explain this, because I know I'm at this point I'm just kind of rambling or I'm all over the place. The best way I could try to explain it is Microsoft is going to attempt, they are attempting to take control by completely um, changing the rules. Imagine it like there's a sports game, any sports game you want, football, baseball, it doesn't matter. Pick what you want. There's an established set of rules, and everybody involved is in agreement that this is how the game is played. This is how it's always been played. This is how you win, and this is how you lose. Microsoft did lose that game. They did. And it's okay to say, it's okay for people to admit that, in the same way that Sega lost. There's winners and there's losers. What Microsoft is doing now, though, is once they lost the game, they said, okay, well, we have two options. Either walk away and accept that we've lost and we're done playing, or maybe we can just kind of, who owns this game? Who makes the rules of this game, actually? Can we be in that seat? Can we be a part of that round table? Can we actually begin to change some of the rules? It's like, well, yeah, I guess you can. I mean, you're if you're rich enough, you can. But can I play the game too? Can I keep playing while I do it? That's what Microsoft is doing. And that's what Sony is contending with right now. Where Microsoft is, they are pulling out every stop. Like, I mean, they are doing everything they can to change the rules of the game. And in this case, the rules of the game just represent, like, here's how you're going to start engaging with games now. Here's how you're going to play games. Now, granted, the major things Microsoft is doing that is kind of, it's fascinating to me. They're turning to people like me and a lot of you guys and all the traditional gamers, and they're even turning to Sony and they're saying, don't worry. You don't have to worry about what we're doing. Because if you like playing this game by this set of rules, you can keep doing that. But we're going to be playing a new game with a completely different set of rules. And the real question is this, because this is the big thing. How many people are going to join Microsoft's game? How many people are going to leave? Because that's what's being established right now is Microsoft said, you know what? Rather than change the rules of this game entirely, because that's just not going to happen, we're gonna create a second game over here with a whole new stadium, whole new set of rules, and we're gonna bring a certain amount of people with us. And the question is, how many people from Stadium 1 are gonna leave to go to Stadium 2 to enjoy that new game? This is just a really roundabout way of saying that Microsoft is using their war chest, aka their $3 trillion in value. They are leveraging that against the traditional way of doing things. And this is why I try to tell people, again, I know I come off like a deranged lunatic sometimes when I do it, a deranged fanboy. But I try to tell people sometimes that, like, you can't trust Microsoft any more than you can trust Sony, any more than you can trust Nintendo. Because at the end of the day, they are trying to convince you of something. They're trying to convince you that our way, our rule set to the game is better than their rule set. But the only question that needs to be asked is, what's the end game? What's the bottom line? The bottom line is they want your money. We want your money. Where are you going to go? Who are you going to give your money to? And Microsoft's willing to tell you, listen, they want $70 from you. We'll just take 20 for now. What they won't tell you is, in the next 3 years, we hope that you end up giving us so much money that it's like 20 turns into 40, 40 turns into 60, 60 turns into, you know, so on and so forth. And it just keeps going and going and going. And before you know it, that other guy, they're not getting 70 from you anymore. Or they only get 70 from you on rare occasion. You think Microsoft is betting on a future console market crash? That could be a possibility as well. Yeah. No, Sony does the same thing. Dude, so if anything, Sony's more brazen about it, where they're just like, we want 70 from you, and we don't really give a shit what the other guy's offering. That's what's kind of funny about Sony, is that it's just they're like, and same thing with Nintendo, where they're like, yeah, we don't care what the other guy's offering. You want our stuff, this is how much it is. And Microsoft is just kind of in this space where they're trying to talk to people. Like, aren't you getting tired of that? When are you going to get tired of that? When are you going to get tired of Sony and Nintendo telling you how much you need to pay, how you need to play? And that's the genius. As much as I know people hate Microsoft, and I have my problems with Microsoft, and I go on my tangents about them, but it is, I don't know if genius is the right word. Maybe ingenious is a better word. It's kind of ingenious, but the thing is, I don't even know that you can give them credit for being that smart in the way that they're choosing to execute it, because it's like, dude, you have an infinite amount of money. You can do literally anything. The only high wire act that Microsoft is in the process of being caught in the middle of right now is don't let the mask slip and let people see that you're actually a diabolical $3 trillion company. You can't let them see that, because Sony has made it clear that they are a diabolical $1 billion company. Same with Nintendo. We're like, we are going to, we want your money now. And that's why I find what's happening very interesting, where it's like you get the Microsoft price increases and, you know, the $80 games. And I'm just kind of looking around like, guys, are you seeing it yet? Like, I'm not trying to hate on Microsoft, but it's like, you see it, right? Like, you see that they too want your money. So I feel like I just went down another rabbit hole. Let me try to wrap this up, though. Let me try to bring it back. At the end of the day, Sony, Microsoft, they're in two different places, but they're speaking to the same group of people. And even though it may not seem like it seems like there isn't competition anymore, I have this feeling that I can't shake, that, you know, maybe in 2027 and 2028, it's going to be revealed that, oh no, there really is no competition. But I had this feeling, it's honestly like in watching that Microsoft video yesterday, where I'm like, they're not completely done yet, because they have one last play to put out there and put in motion. And I don't think they're banking on it. I don't think Microsoft is banking on it. I think Microsoft is fully well prepared to find out that they put their new hardware out, the PlayStation 6 is out there, and hardly anybody gives a shit about the new Xbox hardware. I think they're ready for that. But there is a part of them that's like, maybe, just maybe, this could work. This could work. And the way I see some people talk about it, the way I see some people reacting to it, I'm like, all right, well, the wheels are in motion. And, you know, the play is in motion. The ball is in motion, as they would say. Curious to see how it plays out. Curious to see how they execute on it. Sony has their own strategy. They have their own way they're going to do it. Microsoft is doing something that's never been done before. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. And Corey the Legend Landiga comes in and drops another 5 membership gifts on you guys, bringing us up to 77 members on the day, which means I'm going to have to do reps at the end of the stream for you guys, apparently. So, Corey, thank you so much, man.
I'm no hero, Never was. Never will be.
And we also have Venino with the $2 super chat. He says Microsoft bet on regulators. You're saying they're betting on regulators cracking down on storefronts. Man, that would be the craziest reverse Uno card ever. That would be wild. Oh, wait. Boss never got his treats. Yeah. Perfect timing, Corey. There you go, man. Go ahead. Okay. All right. Take your time. Yeah, that would be the craziest reverse Uno card because during the ABK situation, it was the other way around, right? It was the regulators being against Microsoft and Microsoft trying to pursue a monopoly. And now, it is possible that in the future that could be reversed and thrown on the Sony, where it's like, actually, now, Sony, you're under scrutiny because of your practices with your own storefront. And the fact that it's closed and Tarnished, you're saying Microsoft isn't doing squat. They're launching a PC with an Xbox sticker on top of it. It'll be a higher than $1,000 price. They're gaslighting you. Well, that's a possibility as well. I haven't locked anything in. It's hard to have these conversations without telling you guys like, well, this is, I think, what's going to happen exactly in this way. The reality is I have to keep it open because even just up until yesterday, we didn't even know that, whether or not Microsoft was going to partner with AMD for their hardware or whatever. We just found that out. So there's still many unknowns. You're getting cat food ads on my channel. Damn, Shams. I guess that's not the worst thing. You think you're saying Apple's the reason that storefronts are being looked at? Well, the only thing I'm like mostly interested in when it comes to, our continuing conversation about Microsoft and Sony and their strategies and, who's going to come out on top and, is Microsoft going to be able to make some kind of, if not comeback, like what kind of impact is what they're doing going to have on the PlayStation 6? The thing that really interests me the most is like, I just want to know if, and I know that this is a funny way of putting it, but I know you guys understand. I just want to know if a lot or frankly, most of what I'm seeing on the internet is total bullshit or not. Because that's the thing, Tarnish, you're saying like, don't let Microsoft gaslight me. I'm wondering more so if it's the internet, not the entirety of it, but a majority of it, because I just can't help but read the reactions from people. And you would think by now I would have a clear answer to this, which is like, dude, you just talked about the fact that the Switch 2 was dragged for weeks, for like over a month, and it didn't mean anything. It didn't matter. Everybody was wrong, or not, when I say wrong, I just mean like, anybody who was betting against the Switch 2 was just totally wrong. It didn't matter how passionate people were or how many people it seemed like there were congregating together to rage against Nintendo. It's like it didn't have an impact at all. And I just wonder if this is another one of those situations. And because I find myself kind of believing that, yeah, I don't know, man, maybe Microsoft is on to something here. But I don't know. I mean, I remember when people were telling me that, the Series X and S are going to be able to catch up to the PS5 or even outsell it at some point. And I'm like, I feel like I've been having people tell me for years that like Game Pass is the future, bro. And like, we just found out through a leaked, it was like it leaked out on LinkedIn on a Microsoft employee's profile that like they're still at 35 million subscribers, which is not bad. I mean, I think that's fine for like bytes. That's a lot of people. It's like in the bigger picture of things, it's like, oof, that's not I don't think Microsoft sees that as a good thing. And so it's not, it just simply comes down to, I know, Lux, we're going to get back on track. I'm responding to super chats and direct donations. And to be fair, the stuff that I was saying yesterday, people who weren't able to tune into the stream, they missed it. And so anybody who was worried about, oh, I didn't get to watch yesterday's stream, that we're talking about the same thing basically right now. So you're getting it, here. I see people talk about the next generation of the PlayStation with the PS6, and they're like, it's not going to matter. Omen says Valve 5.7 billion or 5 to 7 billion, Nintendo 90 to 100 billion, Sony 156 billion, Microsoft 2.3 trillion, Xbox accounting for 10 to 15 billion in fiscal year 2024. It's interesting when you see them lined up like that. It's crazy how far ahead Microsoft is in just value, bro. 100 billion, 156 billion, and then just 2.3 trillion. Jeez. But trust me, bro, Walmart Cola will be the leader in 3 years. I see people say that, the PlayStation 6 is going to maybe struggle, or it's going to do poorly, It's going to, and I don't want to be that, like, I don't want to come off as just the traditional PlayStation fanboy where like, and here comes, Sony Defense Squad or whatever. It's like, no, it's not about that. It's just like, it's more about like, what if people are wrong? Because we have seen people like collectively on the internet be wrong many times. I just don't know. It's like somebody saying like Call of Duty is gonna flop this year, bro. It's finally happening. It's just like, give me a break, dude. Like, no, it's not. You know it. I know it. I'm not trying to say that the PlayStation 6 is that sure of a thing, but I just feel like, what if somebody's preconceived notion or their assumption about what Microsoft is doing is going to take off and what Sony's doing is going to be stuck in the mud? It's like, what if you're just wrong? And the PlayStation 6 is announced, it's revealed, people go nuts. There's just as much fanfare and excitement for it as there was the PS5 and the PS4. It gets off to just as good of a start. The strategy that Sony's been implementing continues to do very well and work perfectly fine for them, or well enough, right? And Microsoft just continues down the trajectory they are, where it's like, yeah, they're making boatloads of money, but they're doing so through publishing. What if that's just the end result of all this, and all that's really kind of left on the outskirts of that are just kind of the people still kind of freaking out and arguing and fighting and being like, no, trust me, bro, our day's coming. Or, PlayStation, it's a small subsect of PlayStation players, but there are PlayStation players who think that Sony is going to go back to full-blown exclusivity. And it's like, come on, guys. Like, you got to know that that's not going to happen by now. There may be some exclusives in the future, but Sony's not just going to say, hey, we're done trying to expand. They're not going to do that. I'm just starting to think that that's kind of where we are right now, where it's all kind of out in front of us. And maybe I don't help the situation because I entertain too much of it, but I don't know. It's just, it's food for thought. Native Cypher, you're saying I actually see Microsoft's mass market and Sony's niche growing next gen, both growing even more. That'd be a hell of a turnout. If it's just like, actually at the end of the day, both Sony and Microsoft ended up just really helping each other in the gaming space. And it's great for both of them. PlayStation is a brand plus lifestyle. Got that PlayStation lifestyle, bro. Dominant console globally. It will remain that way. The difference is that previous gen consoles will be around for much, much longer than in the past. I can agree with that. Yeah. Many of the predictions can be wrong. The PS3 taught me that. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not trying to. I don't want to like go into the next generation with the PlayStation 6 being like, oh, Sony's guaranteed to have the best generation ever, guaranteed success. I don't think anything's guaranteed, but it's just like, all right, Sony, as long as you stick to some of your core tenets, and stick to that, regardless of any new things you want to do or more novel things you want to do, I think you'll be good. I think you'll do well. Sorry about that. You're betting the PlayStation 6 has no disk drive and Sony makes the current disk drive compatible with the PS6. Actually, I was thinking about this, Daniel, and I want to say that we're all in agreement that the next Xbox hardware is not going to have a disk drive, right? We're all in agreement with that. I think Sony's going to go out of their way to make sure they do have some kind of disk drive offering. Because think about it, that's going to help them, dude. Like, that's a selling point that, like, hey, if you still care at all about physical games or media, we're supporting that. Like, somebody said in my chat the other day, they were like, I'm still holding out hope that Sony has another here's how you share your games moment, but instead, something along the lines of like, here's how you put a disc in your console or something like that. And to be honest, like, yeah, that Sony wants digital sales too, but it is one of those things where it's like, listen, I'm a believer that Sony is going to need every possible selling point that they can get with the PlayStation 6, and nothing should be left off the table. And if they're still going to support physical media, they should highlight that. I'm not saying that should be their main driver. That would be crazy, but it should be part of the marketing, because I don't know. It's becoming something that, even though it's a smaller group or more niche thing, it's a very vocal group. It's a group that, can have some level of impact on your product, I would say, at the very least. So I think it would benefit Sony to kind of, they don't have to go crazy with it, but just make it known that, like, yes, we are the console that's still supporting physical Blu-ray discs, something like that, I think would go a long way. Yeah, I mean, Sony definitely wants the digital sales, though, too, because it cuts out the middleman. They just lowered the price of the disc console in some regions. Like, literally just now. Did they just announce that today? Or are you saying recently they did that? I think Microsoft is abandoning physical discs. I mean, it seems like it's beginning at the end of this year with their $80 games. Oh, you're saying recently, okay. Yeah. I heard about that, Jackson. If I'm not mistaken, they said right now there's no plans, but they're like open to it maybe in the future. Yeah, PC abandoned physical media like 20 years ago. Oh, there's a gnat in my coffee, bro. Oh my god. Should I just drink it? Yo, if we get to 100 members, I'll drink this gnat. All right. So I'll just. That's disgusting. I'm just going to put that to the side over there. Extra protein. What's a gnat? A gnat is like a really, really tiny fly, like a fruit fly. And you're saying you refuse to buy the Oblivion remaster digitally, no physical copy, no sale. I can respect it. I don't understand with some of these with some of these publishers, like, why not just make a physical copy, man? Like, for your bigger property, like, that's a bigger game. Like, Microsoft, bro, Oblivion remaster is huge. Why would you not make a physical run? Days Gone remastered. Where's the physical run? Bill Gates says I should eat it. Price of shipping. No, gnats don't sting. They have a tendency to get in your eyes, though. For some reason, they're very annoying. You have an idea PlayStation makes a PC platform. PS5 physical works on PC, but only for PC platform. This way we can also get our digital games on PC. I'm confused. I'll be honest. I'm a little confused with that. I'm a little confused. No, physical's not dead yet. And Titus Crow comes in with a £2 super chat simply saying, do it, and pointing at me. Wow, Titus, you live for the chaos, bro, don't you? You want me to drink the gnat? A gnat is not a fly. It is a gnat. Well, hey, man, we're at 77 members. There's a good chance we hit 100 today. If we hit 100, I'll do it. I don't want to. Normally, I would take it out. It's small, and that's small, so it's not like that serious, but I guess, yeah, I got some extra protein with my coffee. It's like that one time I chugged that really bitter tea on stream. That sucked. That was the worst. That was not fun. These gnats. There you go. All right. So I feel like we definitely segued. It wasn't a segue. We just completely switched gears. We were talking about Sony acquiring WB Games, and then we just moved over to, once again, talking about next generation with, PS5 and the next Xbox. Hold on. We are going to talk about Death Stranding 2. I do want to just wrap up the conversation we were having, though, about WB Devil Shooter. I'm sorry. This is why the timestamps are always so all over the place. When it comes to Sony acquiring WB Games, I do think there is risk involved. Obviously, it would be a major acquisition. It's something with no guarantees, like I said. But at the same time, like when I evaluate the gaming division at WB, I think Sony could do some good there. I do. I think it would benefit Sony. I think it would benefit those studios. So it's actually something I think I would like to see, but I would still be a little bit nervous. And Titus Crow is hyped. He renews his membership. He's like, I got to contribute where I can, man, to get to this 100 today. Titus, thank you so much for that, man. I appreciate your support.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And that brings us to 78 members on the day, which is incredible. Thank you guys so much for your support. Again, Silent Spartan dropped a 50 bomb earlier out of nowhere. Death Stranding coming soon. You're rushing to get... Dude, Omen, I feel like me and you are doing the exact same thing right now. We're playing video games the same way right now. You're saying you're rushing to get 100% for Days Gone trophies before DS2 comes out. I'm literally doing the same thing. I was checking on my trophy progress this morning, and I am doing my new game plus and complete the game on Survival 2, so you can do both of those at the same time. That's the run I'm on right now, and I think I'm about halfway through that playthrough. I mean, I'm sprinting, dude. I'm skipping every cutscene. I'm trying to get through it. Then after that, I have to do my permadeath playthrough, which I'm terrified about. And then after that, I have to get all the horde mode trophies and the challenge trophies. So I think I was looking over. I'm like, I think I can do this. I don't think I can do it before Death Stranding comes out, though. And Omen, you're saying you're on the permadeath mode. Do you have any suggestions? Because, like, I don't know if you're doing it this way or not. Are you save scumming at all? Are you using like the cloud save method? Because I'm thinking about doing that because I don't want to. I die in some stupid ways, man. Because not even dying, but there's this one mission with Iron Mike where you're supposed to be following a horde, not fighting it. You can't fight the horde. You're just following it, and you have to kind of like navigate bushes. And when I was doing this most recent playthrough, I'm following the exact path I'm supposed to follow, and I got noticed like 5 times in a row where I'm like, is this game is this bugged out right now? Is this glitched? What's wrong with this? And I was thinking, like, if I was on permadeath mode right now, I would have just lost it because for some reason, like even though I'm following the exact path, I just got seen by the horde, and that's it. It's game over. Like that's stressing me out. I gotta admit. Kojima would tell me to get good. I mean, yeah, I don't really mess with permadeath modes, dude. So this would be different for me. Oh, God damn it. I almost just drank the gnat. Titus, I see what you did there. You almost tricked me. Titus almost tricked me. I almost just willingly drank the gnat. That's my leverage. You died the first time on true permadeath. You restarted on permadeath per act. I'm just being more careful now. No save scumming, by the way. By the way, spotted by Nero guards does not count as death. You're positive about that? Somebody told me it did. Because the Nero guards, yeah, when you're doing the stealth, that can be pretty shaky too. Okay. That I hope you're correct about that, Omen. I believe you. If you're doing your permadeath running, you're saying that. I believe you. Because I was going to say, like, that feels kind of cheap. You could get seen doing the dumbest shit and just having your whole save erased. That's how I think I'm going to try it, doing the permadeath per act. Yeah, man, I want to make sure to get every trophy in Days Gone this time because I remember, when I platinum Days Gone the first time, they did add some DLC, like a new game plus mode, but by the time they added it, I was like, I'm already moved on to other things. So having everything in a complete package, this may be the last time I ever get to play Days Gone. I mean, in terms of they might not do anything more with it. So I would feel pretty satisfied walking away getting every trophy and feel like, okay, well, this is the last I ever play of Days Gone. I'll walk away knowing I did everything I could possibly do. So you're watching so close, like he's going to take a drink. The thing you have to be careful about, well, there's two things. Ignore the hordes as much as you can, and most importantly, drive slowly with the bike. Oh, yeah, you don't have to tell me twice about that, Omen. Bro, like, the bike controls really well, but, you have this tendency to want to drive fast, to want to ride it fast because it feels good. But, man, when you do, you can get caught up on the dumbest things. You hit a tree. You just hit the smallest ramp, but you hit it at the right angle, and suddenly you're like not 50 feet, but you're like 20 feet in the air, and you're headed right for a tree. You can't do anything about it. Yeah. Gonna have to be careful about that. The hordes, too, yeah. There are times in that game where you're just like exploring and walking around. Maybe you're not paying too close attention to the map, and it's just like, oh, horde spotted you. It's like, what are you talking about? Where? What horde? And then they're just on you. And you're like, oh. Michael Lynch with the $5 super chat. Thank you, buddy. Saying, sometimes you say something along the lines of Sony not also being trustworthy. I trust PlayStation way more than I trust Xbox. They are not the same. Yeah, I mean, I guess I understand where you're coming from, Michael. If you're a loyal customer to PlayStation, then you have some level of trust. Like, an example I can give, Michael, is that when Herman Hulst and Hideaki Nishino, like, they are business executives, but when they say, like, we're going to continue to produce the type of single player games at the quality level that like the PlayStation fan base expects, I actually do believe them. And I trust that they will do that. And the reason for that trust is very simple. It's because, well, if you don't, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't produce those types of games and you don't actually, like, live up to your word, you're not getting my money and you're not getting millions of customers' money. So it's like one of these things where I do think some of the people, like I said, that run PlayStation, they do actually know. Like, I think it's like when you see Sony celebrate the 30th anniversary, I don't see that as just a purely shallow act. Like, I think that there is a level of genuine care where it's like, yeah, man, you guys have been doing this for 30 years and you have people that like me, where it's like, dude, I was a kid growing up playing PlayStation and now I'm a full blown adult. Now I have my son and I'm introducing him to PlayStation and he's playing Astrobot. And it's like, I I want to have a certain level of like, if I'm going to be a loyal customer, there's certain things that I have to be able to trust the company. Like you gotta do right by this group, at the very least, you got to do right by them. And I actually feel the same way about Xbox, dude, where it's like, at the end of the day, man, you could be the most hardcore Xbox player, but you're going to hope that Microsoft does right on the most basic level of like, you're going to make another console, right? Like you're going to make another Halo, right? Stuff like that. And Omen86 drops 2 single membership gifts. Omen, thank you so much for that, buddy. And he gets us up to 80 members, so we are a 20 bomb away from potentially hitting that 100 mark, and then I'm going to have to, unfortunately, drink a gnat. So, totally cool if we don't hit that 100. I'm totally cool with it. 80 is great. 80 is great. Bro, there's no way you worded it like that. Well, it depends on what you mean by trust. It depends on, like, I'm not saying trust like Sony. I trust you with my life. Sony, my life is in your hands. I know you're going to do right by me, and it'll never be about money first. Like, no, I don't mean like that. I think everybody kind of knows. That's not really what we're talking about, right? And Omen86, how could you do this to me, bro? How could you? Omen86 comes in and drops 20 membership gifts, and he says, MBG, I want you to eat bugs. I want you to eat bugs, bro. Omen. No, in all seriousness, Omen, thank you so much for that. You dropped 2 to get us to 20, and then you dropped, or to get us to 80, and then you dropped 20 membership gifts to get us to 100. So we actually did it, bro.
Holy shit.
We hit 100 members today. Absolutely wild. I'm going to have to do reps at the end of the stream too. So remind me of that in case I forget. Well, let me read Michael's. You want Arnold? Here we go.
I'll be back.
The Terminator laughing, bro. I'm watching that show Fubar, season 2. Arnold's in it. I'm watching it on Netflix right now, and there's so much cringe in that show, dude. But I have to admit, it's cool to see Arnold still. They're giving him one-liners and stuff, and I'm like, this is amazing. I don't know if it's gonna let me show you the gnat. I don't want to spill it. You see it at the bottom there? See, it's real small. But you see that black thing? That's a gnat. That's a bug, bro. You're making me drink that? Oh, jeez. I'll drink it. I'll drink it in just a moment. It's there. Trust me. Titus is like, I see it. I see it, bro. I see the gnat. You feel bad? I mean, I'll be honest. I don't care. I'll eat gnats. I'll willingly eat gnats. Just give me a handful of gnats. It's like candy. It's like candy. It's good protein. I'm normal. Michael, I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. You're saying, I trust that PlayStation will continue to put out high-quality games. They won't go day and date, and they won't totally change their business plan at the drop of a hat. And see, that I can agree with. I had a feeling that's kind of what you meant. I think when people hear, like, oh, I trust PlayStation, I think they take it on like a more personal level. But like from a business standpoint, it's like, yeah, I can trust them with that too, because again, it's just like, The question, Michael, is if Sony did do all that, if they stopped making high quality games that that appeal to you, and they just radically changed their business plan at the drop of a hat, what are you gonna? You're probably gonna walk away or give them a hell of a lot less money, And I think they understand that. They have tens of millions of users that feel the same way. I think this is why, for the last year, people were telling me that Sony was going to do the exact same thing Microsoft is. And then it turns out that they just came out in their business meeting and are like, we're not doing what Microsoft is doing. It's like, oh, okay. Well, damn. I guess I don't know. I may have been listening to the wrong people a little bit, but Silent Spartan says, did I ever platinum Stellar Blade? I never did get the Stellar Blade platinum. No. That's a game I could see myself going back to in the future at some point. I did beat it. I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. That was one of those games where by the time I got to the end and I beat the final boss, I was like, I'm satisfied. If I recall correctly, though, Stellar Blade came out around a time when there were many other games that were kind of circling me. And so I felt like, man, I don't know if I can stick to this one so closely. I got to move on to the next one. That's why I'm getting nervous about Death Stranding 2 launching, though, dude. Like, I have this feeling that if Death Stranding comes out and I don't get all of Days Gone's trophies, I'm going to end up moving on. Omen, you did platinum Stellar Blade? Good shit, dude. Yeah, I've seen quite a few people over the last year like let me know that that's a game they prioritized the platinum for. Do you expect Sony to stick with $70 games forever then? Be different than the others? Well, see, that's what I mean. Like, if you were to ask me, okay, how far does your trust extend for like, do you trust that they're going to stick to the $70 price tag? No, I don't. I don't, because that also doesn't make business. In the same way that it doesn't make any business sense, or just knowing like how hard they've worked to build up this big of a user base, it doesn't make any sense to walk away from single player games or high quality single player games, the type of games that you've conditioned your players to expect. In the same way that it doesn't make any sense to walk away from that, it would not make any business sense as we see more and more publishers and pretty much the new industry standard become $80. I would love for them to not do that. I would love if Sony was like, F you, I won't do what you tell me, right? I ain't going to raise the price to $80. I mean, that would be crazy because it's like, wow, who would have thought? But realistically, I think Sony, whether it be next year or the start of next generation, they're going to go for that $80 price point. And I think they'll be fine. I think it'll play out similarly to how it played out with Nintendo, where people will be upset. But I said this before and I'll say it again. I think for most people who care about playing these games, they're not going to let $10 get in the way of them enjoying the games they want to enjoy. For most people. Yes, Whiskey Gaming, I did just quote Rage Against the Machine. That's what you missed. And Michael Lynch with another chat says that person is cherry picking one example, asking if Sony will stick with $70. Prices will go up due to inflation. I mean, Michael, I'll say this, man. Right now, it is considered unpopular. Like, just straight up. It's an unpopular thing or opinion to, like, if you're somebody who likes what Sony's doing and if you are happy with modern PlayStation, with PlayStation 2025, you are going against the grain. On the internet, generally speaking, that's not the case. Most people play on PlayStation and PC, but the dominant players are Sony, Nintendo, and Valve in terms of popularity, and but for some reason on the internet, that's just the way it is, and so you get people like me, PlayStation content creators. Look at what I've resorted to. I got to drink this Nat. Here we go. I felt it. Oh, God. Okay. It's all good. We did it. I felt it, though. It's like a nerd. You like the candy, like nerds? It's like I just swallowed a nerd. Smurf, I'm glad you could be here for this moment too. Yeah, pause, bro. Pause. Show us where the gnat touched you. I was about to say the craziest shit. This is why I gotta slow down. I gotta slow down because I see my chat getting crazy, and I almost got crazier. I gotta slow down. I don't want my channel to get demonetized or I don't get in trouble with YouTube. I have to admit though, like it's fine. The gnat, it's just a gnat. You know, if you were playing outside as a kid running around, you probably swallowed multiple gnats, so it's not that bad. But I get to finish my coffee with a little added gram of protein there. I gotta go throw up. Just kidding. It's like I'm just holding it in. It's like I can't believe I actually did that. I gotta go violently throw up. Oh, you're eating Nerds clusters right now. Those are Mrs. MBG's favorite. Yeah. Those are Megan's favorite. She loves the Nerds cluster. She likes the Nerds rope and the Nerd clusters. I think she got them when we went to go see the Until Dawn movie. And it was weird because like I bought Lifesaver gummies. I love those. It's the worst. Like they're so bad because it's just pure sugar, but I love the Lifesaver gummies. And I bought this bag, and I'm telling you, it was expired, bro. I didn't think it says on the bag it wasn't expired, but I was like eating them. I'm like, they're supposed to be like soft and chewy. They weren't the wild berry; they were just the regular ones. They're supposed to be like soft and chewy, and they were like kind of crunchy and stale. And I like turned my phone flashlight on in the movie theater. I'm looking at it, like got white shit all over it. I'm like, am I eating? Is this mold? What the fuck is going on here? And you know, I was like turning to Megan, and I'm like, I think like we're in the middle of watching a movie, and I'm like, I think my Lifesaver gummies are bad, and she's like, she's like, no, they're not. They can't go bad. They're candy. I'm like, I'm telling you, they went bad. She's like, well, here, you can have some of my Nerds clusters, and I'm eating them, and I'm like, it's better than nothing, but I am not a fan. I'm not a fan of the Nerds candy. You know, or the Nerds clusters or the Nerds rope. They're like, for me, that's exactly what they are. They're like, if this is all I got, all right. Moldy Lifesavers is diabolical. I know. I almost complained, but you know, I was like, whatever, bro. Worst batch of Lifesaver gummies I ever had. But I love candy. Yo, really quick, pushing polygons. That I don't know if that's like a rare candy. I feel like it is because my grandmother, her favorite candy was Fifth Avenue, the Fifth Avenue candy bar. And I remember like growing up, she would always tell me that was her favorite candy, and she would like give it to me sometimes. I'm like, this shit's pretty good. Now, when it comes to candy bars, my favorite, I like Fifth Avenues. I like Nestle Crunch bars, but my favorite candy bar has to be the 100 Grand. I don't think anything beats the 100 Grand, man. That's my favorite. It's perfect, and I'm clearly an old man. I have fruit roll-ups, whiskey gaming, in the kitchen. I legit have fruit roll-ups. Twix is good. Yeah, Twix is really good. How did we get on the subject of candy? Is it because I ate a gnat? Oh, it's because I said it was like a nerd. But Michael Lynch, just to get back to your super chats, man. I hear you, dude. Like, I see it too, and I'm just trying to be a little bit more positive. Not toxic positivity, no, but oh, dude, beast mode. Don't talk to me about gushers, bro. Did you know they sell like bags of gushers like they do just like bags of candy sometimes? They're kind of rare. I don't know which stores sell them, but you could just buy bags of gushers. Sour Patch. I think I'd have to ask her, but I think that's Megan's. That might be her favorite Sour Patch. It's either Sour Patch or Nerds, or it's a tie between the two. Man, the chat's going off right now. Everybody's sounding off on their favorite candy. Death Stranding 2 hype, candy delivery. We need some Kojima candy, some Kojima Productions branded candy. It's gonna be like those I forget what they're called. The little bugs. Oh, it comes back to bugs. See the what are they called? Good candy should taste like it's made from the stuff from the very depths of Chernobyl. Oh damn. Yo, Tyson Webb knows about those bags of Gushers. Gushers are, dude. We sometimes bring Gushers into the house, like the boxes with the smaller packs inside, and they last. I shit you not. At most, they last 36 hours, but usually they're gone in 24 hours. It's bad. You're not beast mode. You're not kidding. It is like crack. They're messy. Whoa. Okay. Moving on. And pushing polygons. I'm sorry I missed your 26-month RPG outside of Days Gone. What is another game you'd go back to and want to get the platinum again if you could? And what is your favorite platinum? It's a good question. Good questions. I mean, somebody mentioned Stellar Blade. That would be a good one, I think, to try to go and get the platinum for. Oh my God. Okay, so. Oh, mic check. Hold on. Yeah. All right, we should be good now. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. Yeah, we should be good now. I apologize. This is the first time it's happened for the entire stream. I think I'm gonna have to buy a new wire. I think it's the wire that's starting to go. I think the mic is fine. I was messing with it earlier, and I noticed like the wire seems really loose. So maybe I'll have to pick one up. Maybe I'll like buy one from Amazon today or something. We should be good. Just let me know if it happens again. But pushing polygons, there's actually a very specific game, and ironically, you know, we were talking about Sony acquiring WB Games. We talk about Mortal Kombat and NetherRealm. I only have guys, are we good now? I just want to make sure with the chat. Are we good with the mic volume? Because I'm still seeing. I don't know if we were just on a little bit of a delay here. Okay, all right, we're good. All right, thank you, pushing polygons. We're good. Mortal Kombat 1. So I have all but one trophy. I need one more trophy in Mortal Kombat 1 to get the platinum. And I don't know why I haven't gone back and gotten it. So the trophy that I need, I remember why I didn't get it. I grinded my ass off in that game to get the trophies. They did like a seasonal thing where they had seasons and you had to fight your way through a I don't know if it was like a tower per se, but like there was almost like you just had to keep fighting through all different enemies, and they would get more and more and more challenging, progressively challenging with different variations and whatnot. And I remember that like at the end of each season, and you have to keep in mind, when I was playing Mortal Kombat 1, it was around the launch of the game. So it didn't have everything there at launch. And I remember being really pissed that this trophy even existed, because I'm like, this isn't fair. Like, basically, you had to buy the game, play the game, and wait like 2 months for them to put out like the first season, because at the end of that first season, and it was only for a week, they had like this big boss battle after you made your way through all the different. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly, but the point is, you got the trophy for completing that big final boss, and I was just like, I'm not waiting around for that. You know, I'm just going to move on, and when the boss comes out, I'll go play it. And I totally forgot about it. I totally forgot about it. And then by the time I remembered, a new season had begun, and then it was like, well, you got to come back in like 3 weeks. And I was like, this is the dumbest. How could this be a trophy in this game? And so I still just need that one trophy to get the platinum for Mortal Kombat 1. I got the platinum for Tekken 8, but Mortal Kombat 1, it's still sitting there. And I heard that apparently they're kind of done supporting Mortal Kombat 1. So I don't even know. Shit. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if I'll be able to get that trophy now. I don't know how that's going to work. I might look into this. But I would like to get that trophy and just get that. Because, it's like, it's torture. It's just one trophy. It's one trophy. I'd be able to do it. Thank you. Yes. Music Hero. I couldn't think of the Titan battles. Yeah. Music Hero, I'm assuming, are you playing Mortal Kombat 1 right now? Can you tell me? Is that a thing right now? Like, can I go battle the Titan? Because I remember when it launched, it was like, you're only going to have like 1 week to do this at the end of season 1 or something. Do you ever have the feeling when you're grinding for the platinum, you look at your pile of games you played, your backlog, and think to yourself, why am I doing this? Yeah, I do. But I know why I'm doing it, because I'm neurotic. I can't help myself. But yeah, pushing polygons, I would say that's one game that I would like. I got the platinum for Dead by Daylight, actually. I do have a platinum for that. And that might be one of my favorite platinums, actually. Pushing polygons, you ask. And I know that sounds silly, but it's like, I had fun with that one because I got to do it with my friends, and one of my good buddies, he never platinums games, but he did it too because we were like both addicted to Dead by Daylight, and he was like, I'll go for it too. I remember there were a couple of trophies for Dead by Daylight that were really torturous, dude. Like, I think one with the nurse, but I remember there was one survivor trophy where my friend had to really help me out with it, and it was not easy. But like, if you hate multiplayer trophies, then good luck trying to get the platinum for Dead by Daylight. But I did get it. One day I'm gonna go over all of my platinums. I think so. Here's what I'll tell you guys. I have 49 platinum trophies right now, and it's beginning to look like, if I play my cards right, I mean, I say that like I don't have control over it, but if I play my cards right, Death Stranding 2 could be my 50th platinum. And I think when I hit the 50th platinum, that'll be a good time to maybe do a dedicated stream covering all of my platinums, and ranking them. And maybe that could be like a thing I do where like every 50 platinums, I do like a updated list or something. Because I'd actually be very curious. I mean, 50 platinums, that's enough platinums that I don't remember everything I platinumed. Well, actually, I don't. Shit, hold on. I might be at 48 platinums. God damn it. Oh, wait. You know what? I might need to get that Mortal Kombat platinum. Like tomorrow. Holy shit. I could have swore it was at 49. I have to double check. Now I'm all messed up. Now it's going to bother me. Okay, if I'm at 48, I'm going to have to get that last trophy for Mortal Kombat so it can bump me up to 49. And then Death Stranding can be my 50th. Oh, God. Now I'm stressed. I thought I had it planned perfectly. I'm going to have to double check later today. I thought I had it planned perfectly. That it's like Death Stranding 2 is going to be my 50th. Not my 49th. Your first platinum was Uncharted 1 on PS3. God of War 2018, that last Valkyrie. You never heard of 9 Inch Nails, Dwayne? That's interesting. They're pretty popular. Yeah, they're pretty well known. Your first platinum Ghetto God was Horizon Zero Dawn. Well, I will say that a game that I platinum last year that I had a really good time with, and it was a surprise like hit for me, where like I loved the game. I really did. I was like, holy shit, I love this game. I can't believe it was Stray. I remember I played that last year. I'm trying to remember what inspired me to play it. I think somebody recommended it to me, and I was like, maybe I'll just try it. I'll just try it. Why not? And I ended up loving it. So Stray was an amazing game, and I enjoyed that platinum. But when I think of platinums that I enjoyed and had a good time with, that's one that comes to mind. Oh, that's an interesting one. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was your first platinum, or the game where you got all the achievements? I've had previous accounts, guys. So like the MBG account, like my main PlayStation profile that I play on right now is not my first one. I've had earlier accounts during the PS3 days, like way back when I was playing Metal Gear Online 2. I have an Xbox account, but I had a previous Xbox account as well. And one of those accounts has the very first game. I don't even remember the login for these accounts. I don't remember any of the info for these accounts, which is a damn shame because I would love to go look and see like what my first. I think it would have been on Xbox, like my first 1,000 out of 1,000 gamer score, because I can't remember, but I know it exists. Obviously, we all have our first one. Now this is going to bother me. What could it have been? It's probably something stupid. I bet you it's something real stupid. I don't think it was Call of Duty. I don't think so. You know what game I remember playing on the Xbox 360 that made me, it broke me. It actually broke me. There are not many games that I was so dead set on getting 1,000 out of 1,000 gamer score or the platinum that it actually broke me. That game is Call of Duty World at War. Mr. B, you got that platinum. Congrats, dude. Oh, yeah. That is you want to talk about a nightmare? That is, I wanted to punch the devs in the face, bro. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the grenade spam, the soldiers would just spawn infinitely. Oh my God. I got so serious about getting this platinum, or at the time, 1,000 gamer score. I brought my friends over. I'm like, guys, you got to help me get this. And we sat there all afternoon trying to do it, and we couldn't do it. And I had to give up on it. I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, it broke me. I was like, I can't do this. You don't remember your Xbox account info? You haven't used it since the 360? I mean, yeah, I had I think when the Xbox One came out, I basically made a new account. I don't remember why I did, but I had a previous account. I think I remember the name of my account, but I don't know if I remember any of the login info or anything like that. I might go exploring. I might and see if I can find it, because now I'm really curious. I'm like dying to know what was my first ever platinum / 1,000 gamer score title, because I want to know how disappointed I'm going to be in myself, because I already know it's going to be it has to be something truly stupid. Like I'm thinking it's going to be some game that I think back on fondly and had this great nostalgia for. It's going to be something ridiculous. Anyway, guys, Death Stranding 2. Death Stranding 2. So we got a couple things to run through here. Oh, hold on. Something broke here. And okay. The first thing, speaking of trophies, we're not going over the trophy list for Death Stranding 2, but considering many of you here are planning on playing Death Stranding 2, and many of you here do care about trophies, you'll be happy to know that it seems like the trophy list, or to obtain the platinum for Death Stranding 2, is not going to be that difficult. PlayStation Lifestyle says Death Stranding 2 on the beach is just around the corner, In just over a week, we'll be able to play it. And the trophy list, specifically to get the platinum, it doesn't seem that difficult to obtain. According to Power Picks, Death Stranding 2 will have a total of 55 trophies. The breakdown is 1 platinum, 2 gold, 6 silver, and 46 bronze. Many of the trophies are story related. A lot of the trophies are doing something, a specific action for the first time. And it seems like the only difficult aspect of getting the platinum for this game is going to be time. It looks like it might just be a little time consuming. And yeah, that very much reminds me of trying to get the platinum for the first game, where it's not hard. It's just, it takes a little bit of time. They also put out a story recap video for Death Stranding, which we are going to watch at the end of this stream when we're done talking about everything. I want to react to it with you guys because I forget so much of what happened in Death Stranding story. But they put out a 6.5-minute video that recaps it all. And then apparently, and I'm curious what you guys think of this, apparently Hideo Kojima decided he wanted to change certain aspects of the story for Death Stranding 2 because he believed it wasn't polarizing enough. Now, previously we heard Kojima say that the game is internally reviewing very well. Sony seems pleased, and he said he wishes it was more controversial. But now we have Woodkid. It says here, at some point during development, Hideo Kojima made some changes to Death Stranding 2 on the beach because the game was doing too well during playtests and wasn't polarizing enough, according to the game's co-composer. Speaking in a lengthy interview with Rolling Stone, French composer Woodkid talked about working with Hideo Kojima on the game and how challenging it was to write music that changes in real time while playing, and how difficult it was to put together the eclectic mix of musical genres the game soundtrack features. When asked at the end of the interview about something essential, the composer learned working on the game, it says here, the composer learned working on the game, Woodkid mentioned how one day Hideo Kojima confirmed his intention of making changes to the game because it was being too well received in playtests. These changes, which reportedly include some script changes and the way some important events play out, were meant to make the game more polarizing. It was done in an effort to trigger more emotion and ensure that people would love the game after initially disliking it, as this is how something gets loved for real. At least that's reportedly what Kojima said. So I got to ask you guys this question. Like, how do we feel about this? How do we feel about Kojima just straight up being like, you know what? You're loving the game too much. No. No, I'm going to have to make some story changes. I need you to dislike it at first, because only then, when you realize you actually love it, that's true love. That's the real love. And I'm like, I don't know if I should feel nervous or like, I don't know how to feel about this. It's crazy. I also feel like Kojima is the only person that could say this about a video game and like get away with it. Could you just imagine if Neil Druckmann dared to say something like this? Well, actually, to be fair, Kojima didn't say it. Woodkid is saying that this is what happened. But man, if something like this came out of Naughty Dog, people would be trying to burn the studio to the ground. You think they do it with Fragile? Nerfing himself to challenge his art is interesting in concept, but like everything, execution is everything. Yeah. Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for him. I mean, he did say Sony seems happy. So the thing that I'm going to be wondering is, I think when I'm playing Death Stranding 2, I'll be able to, at least I assume I'll be able to identify the moments where it's like, oh, okay, like this is the thing that he changed, or like you can kind of tell, like, oh, this is, whoa, what's this? Something that kind of just seems like, oh, all right. Sony is happy with Marathon. Apparently not. And when I complete Death Stranding 2, I'm going to be left wondering, like, what was the original version before Kojima changed it? And I wonder if it'll be obvious to detect, like, oh, okay, in a year or two, the director's cut will come out and we'll see the difference. I mean, we'll get like the PS6 director's cut with the original ending or the original version. Michael, what's going on, man? Yeah, well, I mean, I'm intrigued because Kojima kind of is the original, right? I mean, what he did with Metal Gear Solid 2, went down as one of the most controversial things ever done in a video game. And looking back on it, it feels so tame. It feels so, so simple, but it really was a massive deal at the time. And it is true that a lot of people hated it at first, but now everybody looks back at Metal Gear Solid 2 and they're like, yeah, dude, I mean, what a legendary game. One of the best games ever made, hands down. And so I don't know. I mean, I'm curious. I'm really curious what ends up happening because I feel like, I don't know. I've been paying attention to what Kojima's been saying. He's putting a lot of emphasis on Neil. I noticed that. He's putting a lot of emphasis on the character of Neil. He's saying that he wants the game to be a little bit more controversial, or he wishes it was more controversial. And apparently, according to Woodkid, he did make changes. There's going to be a lot of music. There'll be a lot of music in this game, a lot of Troy Baker singing. Do you think he made it a musical? Did Kojima make a musical? A playable musical, and that's what we're going to find out. Yo, that would be crazy. I mean, they're really kind of making it sound that way, right? Hidden Easter eggs. He did a Joker too. Daniel's like, no way. Yo, I'm so curious. I mean, he really put a massive amount of emphasis on, like, there's a lot of singing in this game, bro. Apparently, seeing Troy Baker singing songs and I think playing guitar and singing songs on his YouTube channel is what inspired Kojima a little bit. And I'm like, this is crazy. What's bro about to drop on us, man? But that's the news right now for Death Stranding 2. Let's stream it and I'll sing. Let's sing along together. Sorry. Okay. Your most controversial sequel is Days Gone 2. I will be truly, listen, man. I'm gonna be worried for Bend if Bend Studio after all this time is like, we're still not doing Days Gone 2 when they're on like life support. I'm gonna be I don't know. I'm gonna be very worried about them because I feel like Days Gone 2, that is the, I mean, that to me, that's the easy win for that studio that I think they need. They need that right now. Music here, you're saying you just checked MK1, bro. No Titan battle. Oh my God. Are you serious? Wait. You're telling me so that's it? Is it coming back? Are they bringing back a Titan battle? Do I have to wait, or is that just it? Am I screwed? Because holy shit, if I can't get that last trophy in Mortal Kombat, I'm gonna be a little upset. Like, it's fine, I'll move on, but it's like, wow. They come back here and there, but not as frequent. Okay. Oh, that's so annoying. That's so annoying. And I don't even remember how difficult it is too. Like, I even question if I would even be able to get it. I mean, I think the only other thing that Ben could do, Michael, is return to Siphon Filter, but I'm not sure, like, how that would be received. I mean, what does a modern Siphon Filter really look and play like? I'm not sure. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but Time-gated trophy. My favorite. Arkham Origins deserves a remaster or remake. Not to just be forgotten about. Yeah, apparently that game, I never did play that, but I heard it was underrated. Titus, you're saying you got upsold to PlayStation's top tier by that 33% off deal. It kind of fell on my renewal of PlayStation Plus. Titus, you're a statistic now. You're the reason why PlayStation Plus's price is going to go up. I'm just kidding. No, yeah, I see that deal too. I see that deal too sometimes, and it is tantalizing. It is. But the only reason I don't upgrade to it is because I'm like, I'm not going to use it. You know, I don't just want to be, I'm not going to just subscribe to it personally just for the sake of it. But maybe at some point. What the hell is on my mustache? The Steam Summer Sale set to begin June 26th, ends on July 10th. Oh boy. All right. So we have one other topic of discussion. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the final topic of discussion, which is Marathon. I did cover this very briefly yesterday, but the stream's no longer available, and it was just like off the cuff because it was breaking news. I want to talk about it more properly today. And then when we're done that, we're gonna watch the Death Stranding recap that PlayStation put out, that Kojima Productions put out, and I want to watch it with you guys. And so I want to ask you before we talk about Marathon to please take a moment and hit that like button. If you guys are enjoying the stream and you want to help it out, the easiest way is by hitting that like button. We're almost at 150 likes. I don't know if it'll be possible, but let's get a big push. See if we can get to 200 likes. Maybe 175 is more doable, but it definitely helps this streams. If you're a fan of Press X Podcast, press that damn like button. I'm going to call it Press Like Button Podcast. There you go. Marathon's facing a lot of hurdles. Yes, it is. I think I don't. All right. Well, let me go over the information first. Let me go over the information first, and I'll give my opinion on Marathon, given the current situation. So, they posted, Bungie that is, yesterday they posted Marathon Development Update. They say thank you not only for your passionate feedback around the Marathon reveal and alpha playtest, but also for your patience while we took the time to listen closely and chart our next steps. Through every comment and real-time conversation on social media and Discord, your voice has been strong and clear. We've taken this to heart, and we know we need more time to craft Marathon into the game that truly reflects your passion. After much discussion within our development team, we've made the decision to delay the September 23rd release. The alpha test created an opportunity for us to calibrate and focus the game on what will make it uniquely compelling: survival under pressure, mystery and lore around every corner, raid-like endgame challenges, and Bungie's genre-defining FPS combat. We're using this time to empower the team to create the intense, high-stakes experience that a title like Marathon is built around. This means deepening the relationship between the developers and the game's most important voices, our players. Over the next few months, we'll continue closed testing, including participants from the alpha, to deploy gameplay updates and test new features as they come online. Some of our immediate focus areas will be upping the survival game, more challenging and engaging AI encounters, more rewarding runs, with new types of loot and dynamic events, making combat more tense and strategic, doubling down on the Marathon universe, increased visual fidelity, more narrative and environmental storytelling to discover and interact with, a darker tone that delivers on the same themes of the original trilogy, which might be one of the more interesting things they're doing here, adding more social experiences, a better player experience for solo and duos, and proximity chat, so social stories can come to life. You'll hear from us again later this fall when we can share the progress we've made alongside the game's new release date. Thank you again for your patience and, much more importantly, your passion. Your continued feedback will help us make Marathon the incredible gaming experience we all know it can be. So that's the official write-up from Bungie.net. Now, we do have a bit of a follow-up here where I came across this on the Gaming Leaks Rumor subreddit, and it says here, according to Paul Tassi, many Bungie developers were unaware of the Marathon delay up until the official announcement. which I don't know if this is like super significant, but I think it just kind of reveals that either, this is Bungie higher ups just making this decision on their own, or they're talking to Sony and trying not to, everything's kind of on a need to know basis, I get. Devil Shooter, you think it's going to get canceled? Well, that's what we need to talk about here. We need to talk about like whether or not Sony's truly making the right decision. I saw yesterday a lot of people were saying that it is the right decision to delay this game, but I still see quite a few people that are just like calling for its cancellation. I want to talk about that. Like, would that be the better option? I'm not entirely sure, because Marathon finds itself in a uniquely bad situation that I think a lot of games, frankly, never would find themselves in. Omen, you're saying, in truth, MBG, I know you really want, or you really didn't platinum Mortal Kombat yet. Why you didn't platinum Mortal Kombat yet? It's because you're still waiting for that Jim Ryan playable character. I wonder, what would his fatality special move be like? I feel like Jim Ryan's fatality would be like somehow he would forcibly make the other character sit down in front of a TV and play Concord, or like watch Concord gameplay until their head explodes. We'll let the game do the fighting, yeah. Damn it, Omen. But when talking about Marathon, man, I think it is ultimately the right decision here, where it's like you need to delay the game. If they were to release Marathon in September, it will be DOA. It has too much. It has too much pushback. I'm sorry, guys. I just keep getting notifications. It has too much going against it, and I feel like the thing that really broke the camel's back was the art, the stolen art, the plagiarism. Yeah, I mean, that pretty much turned it into excess baggage, right, for Sony. But at the same time, I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. Sorry. At the same time, I was going to say, Sony made such a colossal investment in Bungie that, well, there are two things we have to keep in mind here. Number one, we don't even know if Sony could cancel Marathon. I say this because it's very clear that very specific agreements were made in order for Sony to acquire Bungie, like very specific. And I wouldn't be surprised if legally Sony cannot cancel Marathon. That only Bungie is allowed to make that decision. I don't know if Sony would be able to find a way around that if they really wanted to cancel it. But the reason why I don't think Sony would cancel it, even if they could, is because, again, man, like they dumped so much money into this one studio that they have to. They probably feel this immense pressure where you have to produce something. You have to produce something. And Marathon is supposed to be that thing. But I don't know what. So, like, if we go over the list of things that they say they're going to change here, upping the survival game, more challenging and engaging AI encounters, I don't think that's going to save the game. More rewarding runs and new types of loot and dynamic events, I don't think that's going to change it either. Making combat more tense and strategic, maybe. Increased visual fidelity, I mean, that's nice, but I don't. Doubling down on the Marathon universe, like, I don't understand what that means. Like, I just feel like these are things that are. I feel like they're just trying to convince people. I think they understand. Like, Bungie and Sony, I think, have read the room, which is good. You got to give them at least the credit that they read the room, and it's like they understand that, man, we fucked up, and no one likes this game. And now they're just kind of doing the only thing they can, which is we're going to put out a list of things that I mean, the only thing that really kind of stands out here to me a little bit is like a darker tone that delivers on the themes of the original trilogy. Like maybe you're on to something there. But now they're like proximity chat, and it's like, yeah, that the fact that they have to come out and say we're going to do proximity chat, even though that's literally a staple of the extraction shooter genre, where it's like, that's good that you're adding it, like you're getting it, but you think it could save it? I mean, it's funny because it's the last thing that's listed, and it'd be funny if that's raid-like endgame challenges is a big thing for you, Mr. B. Yeah, and maybe stuff like that is hitting harder than I realized for people who play Destiny and stuff, because that's what Bungie specializes in, right? Like the raids for a game like Destiny. And I don't want to be like that person that's jumping on the bandwagon where it's like, it's dead, it's DOA, it's not even worth talking about. Like, this game, if this game fails, it's going to have pretty big implications for Sony and especially for Bungie. And I'm not rooting for it to fail. I think they're clearly going to have to change the art style. It would be shocking if they didn't, to get away from the whole plagiarism thing. And I think basically what they're going to be building up to, and they did say they'll be returning this fall, by the way. So I don't know. I mean, PlayStation Showcase, maybe? I don't know. But they're going to be returning this fall, and I think they're going to have a re-reveal. And I'm just trying to think to myself, like, what exactly could you show and how could you present it in like 4 or 5 months' time between now and then? That, like, what can you really change that dramatically? I don't know. I'm concerned about Marathon deeply, because if this fails, it won't be surprising and it won't be shocking, but it will absolutely solidify that the worst decision that was made, and probably ever, from Sony was buying Bungie. It will solidify that. And I mean, that's not the preferable outcome, in my opinion. The preferable outcome is that they somehow pull it together. Maybe it isn't the next big thing, but I would rather see a universe or world where this game was on track to be an even bigger train wreck than Concord, but they gave it the time it needed. They truly listened to the community, and they made the necessary changes. And it's not a huge hit. It's not a mega hit. It's not like the next big thing, but it finds an audience, and it's sustainable now going forward. That would be cool, because that would, that would mean that Sony got something out of their massive acquisition, and it would mean that Bungie got it together. But my confidence is very, very low. And so the alternative here is they cancel the game. The problem with them canceling the game is it's like, where do you go from there? Proximity chat was the biggest request from the content creators who played the beta. Okay. You don't see any scenario where Marathon turns out okay. It's tough. Yeah, I mean, I won't lie. Like, any little glimmer that I see it's pretty faded, and it's hard to see it. And it's like, I think they're going to need a kind of like miracle, bro, to turn this ship around. And so when we think of the alternative, which would be cancellation, I feel like there are two things they could do. The mega movement, make entertainment great again. Omen, what are you going on about, bro? That's what Bungie's going to have to incorporate, the mega movement. Make entertainment great again. Omen's just really trying to derail me, bro. The alternative that I think could work, and it's risky, but I think it could work, is we're announcing that we're canceling Marathon. But instead, here's what we're going to do. We're going to begin work in earnest on Destiny 3 and a new single-player project. Why do I feel like if they made that announcement, people would cheer that on. Am I crazy for thinking that? Am I? Like, I feel like I'm not. I feel like people would cheer that on and be like, awesome. This is what you, like, people will say, you should have been doing that from the start, but better late than never. We'll be here when you're ready to show it off. I think that wins people. And I think what's just sad about it, now maybe they can't do that though, because maybe Bungie is under some kind of intense pressure where it's like, if Marathon caves and fails, then Sony takes over completely. And that could be what they're up against. And so if that's the case, then yeah, they're not going to cancel Marathon. You think Destiny 3 would be a shit show too? The studio is the problem, not the IP. Well, maybe the best outcome ultimately here would be, I mean, I hate to say it, but maybe Marathon failing and then Sony completely taking over, and everything that Bungie does from that point forward is completely managed by Sony and PlayStation Studios. Maybe Sony has a better vision of where to take Bungie than Bungie does. Yeah, I mean, it does seem like management has been the problem for a long time with Bungie. It seems like it's not really getting any better. And I mean, you look at what's going on right now, it feels like they're trying to save a sinking ship. And it feels kind of sad to watch, man. I'm not going to lie. It's like, Jesus, guys. They won't make Destiny 3. They've run out of ideas. Each new season is just a slight difference from the last. It's fine. It's fine to continue content, but as a third installment, that's more expectation. Well, you know what's interesting, Silent Spartan, is like, you know, I forget when we learned about it, but we basically learned that Destiny 3 is not in development. That's just like not a thing on the docket. And that was quite surprising. But what you're saying here, that probably is why. Like, they don't know what to do. One of the sadder things that I remember hearing, this was a previous report from Bungie, I think from like half a year ago, was apparently a lot of the developers at Bungie, they wanted to make a single player game and lean more into single player content. But the higher ups at Bungie were like, absolutely not. And I feel like that sucks because it's like, that could have been your savior. Like, you guys might have needed that, you know? And they were just completely against it. And I'm just not sure. Like, I don't know. I don't really have any, I feel like I don't have any viable solutions for Bungie here, man. I understand that they need to maintain live service because that is what they are. That is what made the studio what it is. But maybe they do have to just kind of take a step back and be like, we got to go back to single player and then take it from there. I don't know. I really do. All I know is that I have so little confidence in Marathon, man. I want to see what changes they bring to the table, and I'll be rooting for them. Like, I'm not, again, I don't want to see them fail unless they deserve to fail. And maybe some people view it as because of the plagiarism problem, they do deserve to fail. And maybe Bungie has become that studio, unfortunately, that they've become that studio that it's like, I think you got more people rooting against you than for you. And I don't even know that I can honestly say that I'm rooting for Bungie. It's just, if anything, it's just for Sony's sake, man. I got to be honest. Like, I don't want to see Sony get completely burned. I mean, like, from top to bottom, like, just total, the Bungie thing was a complete bust. It would be nice if they could get something out of it. Just because, you know, I don't want to look back and be like, wow, that's literally the worst thing you guys have ever done. Like, by far, like, the worst thing. That would suck. But unfortunately, it's looking like that may be the outcome. I don't know, man. It's looking real spooky out here when it comes to Bungie, bro. So we are going to find out. We're going to find out. But here's what we're going to do, guys. We are approaching the 3-hour mark. Yeah, Firewalk was also made up of a bunch of former Bungie developers. And I don't know, man. Maybe Bungie's just cursed. cat hair all over my table or desk. I mean, here's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna bring up the Death Stranding 1 recap that was released by Sony. I want to watch that with you guys. It's only 6.5 minutes, but before I do that, we'll do like a last call for any membership. If you want to become a member, membership gifts, super chats, direct donations. Now would be the time within like the next 5 to 10 minutes to do that, because once we finish watching the recap, we're going to be wrapping the stream up and heading out. There shouldn't be any. So the only spoilers you're going to see in this is Death Stranding 1 spoilers. So if you are planning on playing Death Stranding 1 and you haven't yet, you're probably not going to want to watch this. But yeah, I don't know if there's going to be a beta anytime soon for a marathon. But give me 1 second to bring this up. Where's it at? Here it is. Okay. And do this. Omen86 with some extreme support right now, bro. Omen86 with the €1 poop emoji. Thank you, man. Don't know what I would do without you. That's the type of support that I know I can count on. Let me... Where? I'm trying to move my camera. Where the hell is it? Oh, okay. Shrink that just a little bit. All right. Let's check it out.
Once there was an explosion. A bang which gave rise to life as we know it. And then came the next explosion.
America was a country. Anybody could go anywhere they damn well pleased. The Death Stranding poked us full of holes. And if you were lucky enough to survive, the timefall came and washed you away. Then those freaks from the beach showed up. The worlds of the living and the dead all mixed together.
You're a repatriate. That makes you very special.
Folks started holing up in the cities. Couriers like yourself got put up on a pedestal.
Sam Porter Bridges, the man who delivers. My name is Fragile. You have dooms like me.
And I can't spot BTs. Just sense them.
Wanna come work for me?
Sam, America's last president wants to see you in person.
Bro, hold on. You're saying I realized I have no clue what Death Stranding's about, even though I beat it. That's why they released this video, dude. Like, cause even I'm watching this and I'm like, oh yeah, all the different terminology they use. I got dooms. Is that what he said? I got dooms. I got dooms, bro. I'm a repatriate. I totally forgot so much of Death Stranding, man. I needed this video. When are they going to bring up... Did they bring up Die Hardman yet? Best name ever.
Emily. Under Emily's leadership, we'll re-establish the United Cities of America. Emily went west.
We convinced community after community to join the UCA, and we left behind people to help them.
But then everything went to hell, and Emily was taken. Homo Demons, militant separatist group. The people.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I forgot that that Higgs's group was called Homo Demons. I need to get a soundbite of the president just saying Homo Demons, bro. I forgot how goat this game really is.
People she left behind have been hard at work, setting up chiral network terminals. Bring them online. Find Emily and bring her home.
Dooms and BBs are a good combination. Connect yourself, granting you the ability to sense BTs. It would seem the two of you have something of an affinity for one another.
So what are you waiting for? Put us on the goddamn grid.
Bridge babies are quite literally bridges between this world and the other side. But BB-28 has been leaning further towards the world of the living. Towards you, Sam.
That's because we're partners.
Valid activation key confirmed. Interfacing with NOT network.
The name's Higgs, the particle of God that permeates all existence.
What if the manifestation of beaches and other associated phenomena correspond to extinction-level events? Evidence does suggest that Higgs brought them here.
We've had 5 mass extinctions, each caused by an extinction entity. And now it's time for number 6. And it wouldn't be possible without a Boy Scout like you. You gave me everything I needed, Sam. A complete chiral network, spread all across America.
Dooms? People like us? She's the source of it all!
Extinction is a foregone conclusion.
I had a little chat with Higgs. Didn't take much to make him talk. He said it was part of her plan.
What?
She was their leader. She wants you to go to her.
And talk her out of it.
There.
I've been waiting for you. In expanding the network, you brought people and their beaches together, but you also bound them to my beach, where I opened the gates to the other side.
I was broken. Sure as hell didn't care about America or the future. But somewhere along the way, I started meeting people that made me think that maybe it wasn't all bad. I'm here for you. Always.
Lou? I just took your cufflinks offline. The UCA wouldn't know where you were. You'd be invisible.
See the stars.
It all happened so fast. We were attacked. I am so sorry.
Lou?
There's no pretending.
Damn, dude. Sorry, I wasn't talking or reacting so much as it got further in because I was really trying to like focus in and remember, man. Remember, yeah. Sound Spartan, you're right, dude. Like, there's definitely so much they leave out, so much context, but I understand why. Like, this is already pushing it 6.5 minutes for like a recap. I gotta say, anybody else notice that they barely showed Cliff in this? Maybe they're doing that purposely because it's like they don't want to mislead people into thinking he's going to show up again in the sequel. But he played such a major role in this, and they kind of like, I don't know. But goddamn, yeah, I am ready. I am ready for Death Stranding 2, bro. I have a physical version coming, so I do gotta let you guys know. I'm gonna be 2 days late. I'm gonna be 2 days late to talking about Death Stranding with you guys because I am getting the physical version, and as much as I'm like, it's tempting to go digital. I gotta support that physical, man. So I'll be willing to wait the 2 extra days. But for those of you who are obviously gonna, some of you guys are gonna play it digitally first. On the 24th, I'm assuming I'll be streaming that day. You guys will have to let me know your first impressions. We'll talk about it. You guys will run the stream that day. You'll tell me what your first impressions are. Am I going to stream it? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I don't know. Exactly. Yeah, 2 more days to play Days Gone. I have to think about it because this is one of those things where it's like I have to really balance out like how much do I want to just play these games in my own way, on my own, in my own space, paying 100% attention. I'm thinking if I do play Death Stranding 2, if I do stream it at all, it'll be like after I beat it. You know what I mean? Like once I'm comfortable with it and I already experienced it. I've tried doing this many times before where every time I try to stream a game, like around its launch, I struggle with it, man. I struggle because I just can't pay full attention and I'm trying to balance the chat and, I'm too hyper aware of like people are watching me play this game right now and I don't know what's going on either. So I might just hold off on it and play it on my own. And I think I'd rather just give my impressions and my thoughts. Excuse me. But I've done it a couple times before, and yeah, I won't lie. It's not you guys, obviously. It's just me. Like some people can do that. A lot of people do that. They play games at launch and they're perfectly comfortable and fine. I tend to not get the full experience when I try to do that, and I find that it's kind of like what I just did with the Days Gone gameplay for members. Like I didn't plan that, but I was like, you know what? I'm almost finished with this game. Why not stream the last couple of hours of playing it to get the platinum? And I'm totally comfortable doing so, and maybe kind of handle it that way. But guys, I think this is where we're going to wrap up today's stream. I think this is a good place. I would have done a members launch today. Unfortunately, I'm not able to, so I do apologize for that. I know that the members launches have been a bit spontaneous, but we should be able to do, what's today? Wednesday. Okay, my hope is we'll be able to do another members lounge either Thursday or Friday. God damn, bro. Gaming Survivor at the end of each stream. So who's going to be the victim? Prince G was the victim today, bro. And wait. Hold on. We got to do one last thing. I got to see if I can show everybody Gaming Survivor's picture. So I can't access. Again, join the community, guys. If you're on YouTube mobile, go join the community. See, Digital Dude is there. Oh, God. Oh, this is a mistake. Oh, Digital Dude. Is RichRod there? Please, God. Nobody tell RichRod about the community. Nobody tell RichRod. Yeah, Omen, if you could do me a favor and save that story for another time. It sounds interesting. It sounds interesting, but does it not let me save the photo? Yo, Digital Dude, it's not letting me save the photo, bro. Shit. Well, you know what? Sorry, Digital Dude. I can't bring it up. But more incentive, guys. Again, for those of you who are still here on YouTube Mobile, go to my channel, go check out the community, go join it, go be a part of it. I'm hoping this will be a cool thing. It's basically like Discord, Temu version, Discord Lite for YouTube. So we can continue the conversation over there. Like I said, I'm going to be going on Twitter a lot less. This perfect timing for this new feature to roll out. I'm going to be hanging out there sometimes. So if you post there, there's a good chance I'll see it. And yeah. Tarnished. So if you're on YouTube Mobile, go to my channel and open up the YouTube app on your phone, go to my channel, and at the top it should say like join community. And all you have to do is be a subscriber. So yeah. Chat's getting weird. Whoa. Yeah, okay. We're gonna wrap it up. Yeah, don't bring that into the into the community. Thank you, Gaming Survivor. That was necessary. That was necessary. We needed that. All right, guys. Before I roll out, I want to issue a massive thank you to the support you showed. We ended with 100 members, bro. Thank you so much for that. A lot of super chats, some direct donations. I know I sound like a broken record, but you guys are the sponsors of the channel. You know, it's a privilege to be able to run this channel, create this content, host these streams, and I'm only able to do this because you make it possible. Without you, there would be nothing. So thank you for supporting me, the community, my family, and all that good stuff. It really means a lot. I also want to make sure to give a shout out to Devil Shooter, who does the timestamps for the yes, a gnat was consumed successful stream. I want to give a shout out to Devil Shooter. He does the timestamps. If you guys see him in the comments, oh yeah, I gotta do reps. Corey's like, yo, wait, hold on, bro. You're right, I gotta do reps. You almost got me. We got to get those reps in. Listen, Corey, I was trying to get out of here because shit was getting weird in the chat, you know. You thought I logged off like an hour ago? Hold on. Where? All right, hold on. I'm going to go grab those dumbbells. We're going to get some reps in. In Days Gone, there's a moment where Deacon tells Sarah he doesn't want to give up the militia hat because it grew on him. I thought of you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Bro, there was this one moment. I got to tell you, I was listening to the dialogue. There was this moment where Deacon's talking to Ricky, and Ricky was telling him how Schizo was like a peeping Tom. And Deacon was like, don't worry, Ricky. If Addie was there, chances are he wasn't looking at you. And I just had to sit back and I kept thinking in my head, like, what did bro mean by that? What's bro trying to say? What's Deacon trying to say right now? What did the writers of Days Gone, what are they trying to say right now with that sentence, with that line of dialogue? I genuinely was just pondering it. Like, what could that mean? I think I know what they meant. But I didn't want to go any further. No, it's not. It's the opposite of philosophical, bro. It's like, you know what? We'll just leave it there. Let me go grab the dumbbells, and we're gonna do some reps. I'll be right back. Wait, that's the wrong track. Hold on. Here it is. Yo, you could recognize it. Hold on. Sorry that took so long. I forgot that I brought my dumbbells back downstairs to use. But you recognized it was the SHOUTOUT theme. Impressive. Most impressive. All right, round of applause. That's it. That's it. Those are the reps. 30-pound dumbbells. I got a little bit of a pump going on. I'm feeling it, bro. I'm feeling it. I want to get one of those, like, I don't know what they're called, but they're like these like an exercise ball or something. It's got a point for each one of your fingers, and you just like squeeze it down. Get jacked forearms. All right, guys, that does it. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you so much for all the support. I'm gonna go make a protein shake now with some creatine. Got to get that creatine. All right, hit the like button as you're filing out. And you thought Boss going for the string was peak premium content? Dude, I got to buy another shoelace. I don't know what happened to the other one. Soon we'll get both going at one time. Get some gnats in there. There you go. All right. We should be back tomorrow. So I put out a video earlier. You can go check that out. Keep losing track of the days. Say we should. Oh. I got a gnat. No joke. I'm not kidding. Bro. A gnat just flew into my mouth when I read that beast mode. I'm not even kidding. I just pulled it out. It was on my tongue. I'm not kidding. That's crazy. What are you doing? Another one, bro. Maybe I don't need that protein shake now. All right. It's getting crazy here at the end, but they taste bitter is what they taste like. Yeah, no, not very good. Anyway, go check out the video I put out earlier. We should be back here tomorrow. Guys, please enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you again so much. But until next time, guys, take care. And watch out for those gnats, bro.